Are you feeling it? Are you feeling the excitement of playoff football? Big Sills, appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you guys so much again. We really appreciate it. You guys have so many options where you guys can go. We appreciate you each and every single day. Please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much. We are here for you. Truth, justice, at the Big Sills way. By the way, Merrill Reese will be with us at 5:30. Hit the like button here. I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to see the games this weekend. And hey, you know what? I was going to wait for this topic. A little bit later on in the program, I ranked the playoff games this weekend in the wild card games. And I ranked the games. And I got the Chargers in Houston at number 6. I got Pittsburgh and Baltimore at number 5. Washington and Tampa Bay at 4. That's an NBC Sunday game, I believe it is, at 8 o'clock. I got Denver Buffalo at number 3, CBS 1 o'clock Sunday game. I got Minnesota, the Rams, number 2, and I got Green Bay and Philly, number 1. I think that's the top game for the weekend. That's the Sunday game, obviously at 4:30 on Fox. I think that's the best game of the weekend. How y'all doing? Please hit that like button. Would you not agree? Is there another game on there in this schedule this weekend where you go like this? Hey, man, I got to check that. I mean, the Minnesota Rams game in Los Angeles, that intrigues me too. I want to see what Minnesota does and if they can bounce back after getting their doors blown off by Detroit. I want to see that. Okay? Hope all is well out there with the Big Sills. We got you flexing. Thank you, man. Big Sills always here for you guys. That may be a Big Sills time, but we're always here. How you doing? So, I mean, right, that's the best game of the weekend. That's the best game of the weekend, Green Bay and Philadelphia. Hey, look, Bucks Commanders, man. I like that game too. I got that at number 4. Denver Buffalo. Denver goes up to Orchard Park. I want to see how that thing rolls out. All right. So, thank you guys so much. Yeah, Flexin, I got you, brother. I got you. Please hit that like button, guys. You know the first 15 minutes of the program are the most important. So, please, you guys are making our show one of the fastest growing shows in all of sports, and we can't thank you enough. All right. Will you stop? Will the Eagles please stop? Holy shit. Do they come up with self-drama? Everything is self-drama. Only the true national guys who don't know what the fuck is going on with your team, do they ever say shit like this? Oh, Hurts is not out of the protocol. You're like, that guy, man, they love drama. It's big. You guys have a lot of Jerry Jones in you. That organization, and that's got to be by design from the owner. That self-inflicted drama has to come down from the top. They love this shit. They love this stuff. They love the drama. I was telling you the other day, Philadelphia Inquirer columnist told me during that parade, Howie Roseman had a few cocktails, and he went up to one of the columnists and says, now, don't you ever fucking write anything negative about me ever again. Was told to me by a columnist, which I won't name. He said it to another guy. Quote. So I won't go there and tell you who, but I think you can get the gist of it. That dude loves that shit, man. They love that stuff. Quote. Dude, anybody in their right mind think that Jalen Hurts wasn't playing Sunday? Are you out of your mind? Look at Brian. And okay? Well, why act like why can't you act like the Patriots did during their Super Bowl run? Those guys, you made the drama up. They didn't. Deflate gate like it mattered. Fake news media bullshit never mattered. Deflated footballs, right, like it mattered. It never mattered. Taping practices or trying to steal signals never mattered. They won Super Bowls after every one of those. Never mattered. The Patriots were like the modern day Raiders. Never mattered. All you did and all you were jealous of the Patriots. You were just jealous because they were so dominant and they were ahead of the curve. Okay? Everybody was just jealous. So you have the media make shit up. The media loves this stuff. Like, will Jalen come out of concussion protocol? You're like, dude, fucking stop it. It's shit stupid. It's made up. It's fake news. Okay? Hey, I like this. Sills, the NFC East is the Kardashians of the NFL. That's really funny. It is. In Dallas, we have Jerry's World. And how the world turns. It's Jerry's World. And then you have in Philly, all my children. That's what Philly is all my children. We'll take care of everybody. Get BG off the air. He's saying too much shit. Jeffrey Lurie did that? Yeah. He did that. Is Jalen Hurts playing Sunday? Yes or no? Who cares? You know that's not going to be any indication of what's going to happen. Everybody knows he's going to fucking play. What is that? It's so stupid, man. Self-inflicted drama. Come on, man. Now, look, do I think it plays a factor in the game? No. It's just stupid shit. I mean, and get this. What I don't like is Nick gets frustrated up there at the mic when they ask him the question. Well, fuck, dude, you created it. Just answer the question. I feel pretty good that it'll be there for Sunday. Why can't you be honest? They can't. They don't want to be. You see, it's not that the Eagles want to be honest with you. They don't want to be honest. That's not cloak and dagger stuff. That's not gamesmanship shit. Okay? That's none of that. It's stupid shit. And the concussion protocol. Are you really under the belief that if Jalen Hurts and you guys needed to win that football game this past weekend against the Giants, and you had to win that game big time, and it was a division title on the ground like it was a year ago, you don't think that fucker was playing? You know he would be playing. Come on, me. It's all good, man. But I am getting excited about the upcoming games, man. I am. I'm looking forward to Wild Card Weekend, Saturday and Sunday football. By the way, we're powered by our friends at BetUS for the next 4 hours, and we appreciate it. By the way, Nick Sirianni spoke. We'll talk a little bit about that. And I want to bring this up to you. Before we get into the main topic, I want to throw this at you about, I saw people on the internet saying this shit about me going, Seals, why is this all about Hurts? Your entire playoff run is about Jalen Hurts. This postseason will define him. It will define him. Either he does it or he doesn't. I put this up there on my X account here, and I want to show you something that I put up there. And we did this a couple hours ago. And I want to show you my opinion on the NFL playoff teams. I wrote down on my Twitter page here. By the way, you guys, all supers, go to the top. Please hit that like button. We appreciate it here. I wrote this down here because somebody tweeted out something really cool to me, and I liked it a lot. What NFL playoff teams have elite quarterbacks versus elite rosters? On one side, I put the elite quarterbacks. And what I mean by elite, are these guys all elite quarterbacks where you consider them top 5? No, but what I do consider them the most important person on the roster and the most important person during this playoff run. Because many of these guys are elite to their football teams. Okay, that doesn't mean they're the best player. Like Geno Smith is the most important player in Seattle. How he plays dictates if they win or lose. Okay? So that's kind of what I did here. So I put the teams that are reliant on their elite quarterbacks. Yes. The Bills. Yes. The Ravens. For sure. The Houston Texans. You're not going anywhere without C.J. Stroud. You can tell me all the shit that he didn't have a great year and that he sucks and you don't like him. If that fucker doesn't play great in the postseason, you're not going anywhere. Joe Mixon's not carrying you to a playoff win. That defense is not carrying the Texans to the Super Bowl or to the AFC Championship. That's not happening. Okay? The Chargers, Justin Herbert, absolutely. The Lions, Jared Goff, yes. They're not going anywhere if Goff doesn't play great. The Buccaneers, they're led by their quarterback, Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield doesn't play well, the Bucs are going nowhere. They're going home. Xander said something really important yesterday. It's kind of where we got also the topic from. He said it on the program yesterday, and it was kind of like what people were tweeting out on my X account. Rams, Matthew Stafford. He's got to play well for the Rams to go and advance. Jaden Daniels, do we not agree? James Jones. Jaden Daniels is the best player in that offensive huddle. I'm going to get to the point, I promise. The Green Bay Packers this weekend. Jordan Love. I liked how that Elliot Spitzer Shore guy put the stats up of Jalen Hurts and put Jordan Love stats next to him. And he had to combine, obviously, the run total numbers because he couldn't compare with him with the passing numbers because it would make Hurts look like a high school quarterback. I love how that guy is just such a knee bender for the Eagle organization. It is obnoxious. I mean, what are you going to put next? Special teams numbers? Jesus, criminy, guy. You win football games in this league from the pocket. Or better yet, let me say this, not win games because Hurts wins games with his ability. You win championships and Super Bowls from the pocket. Plain and simple. The last 50 years of this league, during the Super Bowl era, you do not win Super Bowls with rushing touchdowns and rushing yards. That includes Lamar. And that's why do you think Lamar Jackson got better at throwing the ball? You know why? Baltimore knew he couldn't do it just running. Do you understand that? Baltimore knew if Lamar Jackson was going to be a Super Bowl quarterback, he had to improve in the passing game. And he has improved in the passing game. Okay? Here. So you have Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chargers, Lions, Packers, Rams, Commanders, and the Packers all rely on their quarterbacks to win games. Here's the elite rosters. Steelers, Broncos, Eagles, and Vikings. Not one of those franchises relies on their quarterback to win them games or to win a championship. And I had a hard time with the Vikings because I think Darnold has to play well for them to go on and advance. So I went back and forth. Could they win a game without him? I don't know. So I went back and forth with him. But Xander said it yesterday. Hurts doesn't have to be spectacular for the Eagles to win. He's right. Jalen doesn't have to be spectacular in the playoffs to win. He doesn't. Those other quarterbacks have to be spectacular. Because if they don't, their rosters aren't that great. I mean, look here. You want to make it even more positive for the Eagles? Do the Eagles have a better roster than the Chiefs? Yes. Do the Eagles have a better roster than the Bills? Yes. Do the Eagles have a better roster than the Ravens? Yes. Do the Eagles have a better roster than the Texans? Yes. Do the Eagles have a better roster than the Chargers? Yes. Do the Eagles have a better roster than the Lions? Right now, yes. Do they, the Buccaneers? Yes. Do they, the Rams? Do they have a better roster than the Commanders? Yes. The Packers? Yes. Nobody that has an elite quarterback, the Eagles match up against them when it comes to their roster. So the point being, again, would you rather have going into the playoffs an elite quarterback or an elite roster? What would you rather have? An elite roster or a quarterback? Here's Max in here. Jalen just needs to be efficient in the playoffs. Jesus, really? But he has to be good in the Super Bowl. That's not a shitty take. That's not a shitty take. His team, he needs to be good, but not great. But he needs to be great in that game like he was. And he needs to almost duplicate and replicate what he did in 22. He was efficient and okay in those playoff games in 22. He was great in the Super Bowl. Nobody's denying that. Okay? See, for me, I'll take the quarterback. Quarterbacks win Super Bowls. Rosters don't. They do. Whether the quarterback is hot, whether the quarterback is one of the greatest of all time. Nick Foles won that Super Bowl because he had an elite moment. Nick Foles had an elite moment in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. It was an elite moment. Okay? You know why it was an elite moment? He won. The difference between Hurts and Foles is that Jalen's was outstanding. Foles had an elite moment because he won. People always are bringing up the fact that Jalen outplayed Mahomes. No, he didn't. He had better statistical numbers than him. Like you guys say, stats. Mahomes outplayed Purdy and him when it mattered the most. That's elite. When you have to find a way to win a Super Bowl, a playoff game, that's an elite quarterback. You're not going to have superstar numbers every single game, but you have to have a moment where you are the guy that gets it done. That's what separates you. You know, we were talking about comparing quarterbacks and people. Well, dude, like comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron James. LeBron James is now compared to only one guy in NBA history. Why? Because he's elevated himself into that conversation. Is it fair? Probably not. But if you want to be considered one of the greatest, nobody's going to compare you to Karl Malone. They're going to compare you to the greatest of all time. So when you compare Hurts and you're saying, well, look at what Mahomes, okay, that's the guy you want to compare him to. Is he comparable to Lamar? Is he comparable to Josh? No. He's not. But what they've done in Philly, which is spectacular, they have built a roster around him that gives him the best opportunity. He's got more leeway in the playoffs than any quarterback in the NFL playoffs right now. Do you not agree with that? He's got more leeway than any quarterback in the playoffs. Maybe Goff has runway where he can be efficient and maybe to a point bad. Do you not agree? That's a testament to the organization and building that roster. Do you understand what Howie has done and what guys have done for people like Jalen Hurts and for guys like Brock Purdy? They give you runway to fail, and the team can still win. Very few teams in the playoffs right now have that latitude. If Lamar doesn't play well, do we not agree? If Lamar doesn't play well, they're not going anywhere. If Jalen plays okay, they're still advancing. That shows you how, in my opinion, how dominant your roster is. You imagine this? I don't have to have a star-studded performance from my star quarterback, and I could still win a Super Bowl. That's fucking unbelievably great. Some of you were probably thinking I was going to go in a negative route here. No. Of all the teams in the NFL playoffs, the Philadelphia Eagles have the more room to fail and still win ball games. Their quarterback is 30th in the league in passing yards. The numbers are awful all year. High school quarterbacks have numbers. Still won 14 games. Okay? The point is, Jalen has to be elite in a moment like Foles. That's all he has to do. It's a testament to what they've done this year. There is no question. The executive of the year, I know it's hard for me to say, it's Howie Roseman. They have built a roster. It's almost like a fail-safe roster. They don't have to be great at the quarterback position. How fucking insane is that? That you don't have to be great at the quarterback position. And by the way, it's not a rip on Hurts. I'm not talking down on him. Jalen has to be great for one moment. Josh Allen has to win 4 games. But here, let's do this. Do we all agree it's going to be almost impossible for Josh Allen to win 4 games in a row to win the Super Bowl? I find it hard to believe that he'll do it. I don't believe he'll do it. 4 games in a row, he's got to play like a superstar. Jalen gave up the fumble that Casey scored in the Super Bowl. I know everyone blames the defense, but he has to be on point in every game regardless of the roster. I don't think he does, dude. I don't think he has to be an A-plus player like the rest of these guys. Not a coincidence that they took the ball out of Hurts' hands and the offense became better. I don't know better. It became more dominant. It became more physical. See, in my opinion, a year ago, they started to get into being a finesse team. And that's why those rushing numbers came down last year. They got back to being a physical team, and they're now a power team again. Hey, and for the record, Jalen Hurts contributed to that 2,000 rushing yard season that Barkley had big time. Big time. And they started winning more consistently. Not an elite quarterback. Get this. You got an elite roster and a very good quarterback. That's my opinion on it. I think he's very good. Do I think he's a guy who's going to win 4 games? No, I do not. He's not going to carry a team 4 games in a row where you're going to go on and win a Super. That's not going to happen. He didn't do that in 22. He didn't do that in the 22 playoffs. And that was a year where he had the MVP wrapped up until he got hurt, right? He didn't play well in the divisional game. The divisional game. And then the NFC title game. They were mediocre ball games. Look the numbers up. They were mediocre. And everyone's like, well, the defense. Okay, fuck. I'm just saying he was okay. He was like the words you like to use. Efficient. Okay, he was efficient. Dude, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen can't be efficient and win a Super Bowl this year. Patrick Mahomes can't be efficient and win a Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. Supers go to the top. It's not a rip. It's not a rip. I think it's cool. How would you like to be on a team where my quarterback can turn the ball over? What was the game they turned the ball over a shitload of times and still blew a team out? Was that Dallas? Was that the first Dallas game that they turned the ball over in Dallas? It was like 3 turnovers. They still ended up blowing him out. Dallas was never in it. You know how many teams can't do that? Like this weekend, Baltimore can't turn the ball over versus Pittsburgh or they'll get beat. That's not happening. Sills, what you described about an elite quarterback in the playoffs and doing enough to win, that's what Terry Bradshaw's career was in Pittsburgh, for example. I'll give you another one, Paul. How about Troy Aikman? How about Phil Simms? These guys weren't elite passers. They were efficient passers. They weren't spectacular. I mean, during the 80s, is anybody going to put Phil Simms in the room with Elway and Marino? I don't think so. I don't think anybody's going to get those guys confused. Do we agree? Nobody's going to get those dudes confused. Dude, I think it's really great what you have going into the – you can have mistakes and win. So this word elite, it's a good thing and a bad thing. That quarterback doesn't play A+, it's over. If Jalen plays B football, you'll win the Super Bowl. If you get an average grade of Jalen Hurts during the postseason and he plays B football, you'll win the Super Bowl. What you can't have is a clunker game like the Carolina game where he looks like shit in the game. That you can have. Because, again, Brandon, he did not beat Burrow. Unless Jalen Hurts was a corner or free safety, I don't remember that. Okay? That's a team accomplishment. Wins are a team accomplishment. They're not a quarterback stat. It's the one thing that the quarterback has to have his entire group. Okay? The win-loss record is not a quarterback record. He's part of this and a part of a group. The defense, the run game, the special teams, the coaching. That's a team accomplishment. 14 wins is not Jalen Hurts. 14 wins is a roster and a team award for what you've accomplished. It's the ultimate team sport. I know sometimes it's worked as a cliche, but it's true. The Eagles have the best roster in the playoffs. It would be a goddamn shame if that football team can't cross the finish line now. They've got to cross the finish line. No football team in the playoffs right now, including the Chiefs, are more talented, playing better. Nobody. Okay? Like I said yesterday, rent's due, man. Okay? Rent is due here. Agreed, Sills. But that has to be consistent. You say often, your boy lost to Drew Lock. Yeah, he's not. But here, and you're right, Show. You're right. He's not going to put consistent winning in the playoffs together. Let's see how many quarterbacks are going to be. Do you think Lamar Jackson's going to put? Now, here's the difference this year. Lamar's got Derrick Henry to help him. That's why they brought Derrick Henry in. Remember something. He didn't need Derrick Henry last year. He won 14 ball games. Why did they bring Derrick Henry in? They brought Derrick Henry in for the playoffs. You know why? They want to give Lamar Jackson the same runway that Hurts has. And what I mean by that again is, maybe my quarterback doesn't play great. I don't want him throwing the ball 48 times, 38 times in a game. Maybe Derrick can take some of the mail himself, and they both can deliver it. That's exactly what Eric DeCosta did in Baltimore. The 1,900 yards that Derrick Henry gained this year saved their season after that shitty 0-3 start they had. But outside of that, Derrick Henry was brought in for one thing: playoff help. Plain and simple. The more talented athletes you have around your quarterback, the less he has to do. I mean, I goof on Hurts with the 2903. Can you imagine this? Let's look at it from the other. Let's turn it inside out for a minute. Jalen Hurts had 2903 and 18 touchdowns, and they still fucking won 14 games. That's unbelievable. That's a testament to your roster. That you could take the most important part of your game, the passing game, in today's NFL, and not lean on it. And not need it. How many teams in the league today could take a passing game away and win 14 games? None. There's not one. Not one. Okay? Not one. God forbid we lose before the Super Bowl. Do the bench Jalen whispers start? Josh, I'll bury the lead on what I'll do. Josh, if that guy doesn't deliver a Super Bowl in 4 years and you got 2 wins or you got 2 14-win seasons in there, it's time to start evaluating what you're doing. Hanging around the rim is not going to be good enough because, again, it'll be 4 years of wasted time. A Super Bowl appearance, a shitty meltdown last year, and a spectacular regular season, and a colossal. I'll tell you this to you. If they get bounced this weekend by Green Bay, that'll be a bigger nightmare than what happened with 1-6 last year. Do you not agree? If they get beat by Green Bay this weekend, that'll be a bigger meltdown than the 1-6. You're going to go, no, what? Fuck that. You won 14 ball games. You have the number 1 defense in the NFL. You're number 2 in total offense. You got a 2,000-yard rushing back. Don't talk to shit to me like that. Ridiculous. Hold yourself to a higher freaking standard. Okay? You win this week, that could set the Roman candle off. Especially if they get something out of the passing game. Okay? I'm not sure what you... Hey, again, Spike, whatever you fucking talk about, I have no idea. I'm going to start calling you the Riddler. It's like the fucking Riddler. I have no idea what you're talking about. Spike has now become Joker 23. This guy's like the fucking... He's like the Joker. And get this, he doesn't want to hear that. Oh, but, hey, for the record, am I wrong in anything that I've said? You got the best roster in the postseason. Do you not? Let's go to Dingbat's Joker here. Do the Eagles have the best roster of any? What team in the NFL playoffs has a better roster? What team has the better roster than the Eagles? Tell me. Again, look at this guy. Lying through my teeth. About fucking what? What in the world are you talking about? Okay? Kyle says maybe the Lions. Stats! Stats, right, Sue? Hey, Joker, what is it? Joker 23. You got your 6 seconds of fame. I can put your aluminum foil hat back on again. Go sit in the corner where you belong. Before I kick your ass into the corner. Go sit in the corner over there. Now! I'm kidding. I don't do that anymore. I'm more of a pacifist today. Hey. Really, hey, I mean, changing my story, how? What story? You got the best roster. Quarterback doesn't have to play great to win a Super Bowl. He could be a B student. And what the hell what are you talking about here? Maniac. Hey, Maniac, check this out. Coaching matters? Well, I hope not. Because you don't have it. Okay? You don't have it. You better hope coaching doesn't matter. Hit that like button, please, guys. Give me a total, too. Hurts is a god. Hurts is a bum. No, he's not a bum. He's not a bum. He just had high school numbers this year. Okay? Here. This is what Sam says. Sills, teams are going to load the box to stop Barkley, and Hurts is running while also blitzing Hurts. Jalen will have to be accurate, quick, decisive in the short passing game. Short passing game, thank you. 119, 118, excellent. See if we get to 200 by the top of the hour. Guys, what are you talking about, short passing game? Like who? Well, what are you talking about? Short passing game on. They don't have a short passing game. They don't have an intermediate passing. They don't have a passing game. Oh, no, we do, because didn't you see it in Pittsburgh? I guess. I guess. Holy shit, right? I mean, hey, I saw it in Pittsburgh. Holy cow, man. Oh, you got to be kidding, right? Hurts, again, this playoff run, this will define him for me forever. Forever. Let me tell you, let me give it to you. I wish Yale was in here, or I wish Bob was in here. Because how many people, again, you have to be a little older than Xander here. You guys remember John Elway? Remember what the thing was on John Elway? John Elway would get to a Super Bowl. Do you know what people used to say about John Elway when he got to a Super Bowl? Oh, my God, not the Broncos again. Because they would always get freaking blown out. Do you remember that? He was 0-3. You know, John Elway's 2-3 in Super Bowls. I think that's right. Somebody correct me on that. I think John Elway's 2-3 in Super Bowls. Is that right? Remember when the Broncos, every time would make it, everyone would go, "Oh my God, not the Broncos again. It's going to be a shitty Super Bowl. They're going to get blown out." Okay. Oh my God, not them. That narrative was there for Elway 90% of his career. Was it not, guys? Elway, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in NFL history, had this narrative of, you know, the narrative you hear of him now as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? That wasn't it. You know what it was? This guy gets to the postseason and this guy just bombs and he can't get it done. That's what people thought of John Elway. Dude, when you looked at Montana, you were like this. Hey, don't let Joe get in the postseason. This guy didn't throw one interception in Super Bowl play. Here, let me show you the difference. That guy's 2-3 in Super Bowls. Montana's 4-0 with no interceptions in any of those games. And a couple of them were blowouts versus those Broncos and Dan Marino. This guy's beating Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Like he's beating their asses. Like Brady never was in a blowout Super Bowl. Montana was. Montana blew teams out. Okay, I mean, I see somebody down here going, Montana had a great defense. He did. Can you name me one player that he won the Super Bowl with in Detroit? Offensively, that's a Hall of Famer. Can you name me one? Joe Montana didn't have one Hall of Famer on that offensive football team when he won the Super Bowl. Not one. He didn't have one Hall of Fame player. Not one player when he won that Super Bowl in Detroit. It was the Bengals versus the Niners. Can you name one? One Hall of Famer. One that played with him in that offensive huddle. Okay? You can't. Bradshaw had 4. Montana had none. That's showing up what I'm talking about. And Montana had to be great, always. Montana made Rice. Rice didn't make Montana. Sills, what do you think of Todd Monken being requested for an interview for head coach? I think he's one of the top candidates, especially if you're looking at some of the quarterbacks coming out of college. Most of them are dual threat. I actually love Todd Monken and what he's done with the development of Lamar Jackson. Okay? Sills, is Randy Cross Hall of Fame? No, College Hall of Fame. Okay, he's a College Hall of Famer, but not a NFL Hall of Famer. No. Dwight Clark's a Hall of Famer. No, he's not. He didn't play with one. Okay? Okay? Sills, agree, disagree. They're going to throw out new fundamentals and game plans going into the playoffs on both sides of the ball. No. Why would you do anything like that? That's the problem that you get with guys like Marty Schottenheimer. I heard something that Nick Sirianni said today that I really enjoyed. Let me get to that. I heard something that I really liked with Nick Sirianni today. Oh, by the way, before I do that, please hit the like button. I appreciate you guys here. Thank you, guys. Here is the All-Pro team that I voted on for the NFL Players Association. By the way, you have to be a Players Association member to vote. This is a Players Award. Lamar Jackson's the quarterback. Brock Bowers is the tight end. Completely agree. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are the wideouts. Barkley is your all-pro running back. The running back or the fullback from Kyle from San Francisco is your fullback. Tristan Wirfs beats out Jordan Millard at left tackle. As I said when I was making my left guard Pro Bowl team, Jeff Tunney would be the Pro Bowl guard. He is not Landon Dickerson. Okay. So, I mean, everybody, all the players in the league saw this out here like that too. Let's see here. Yeah, so, I mean, by the way, I like this O-line. Penei Sewell, right tackle. Chris Lindstrom from Atlanta, I believe that to be true, right guard. And Creed Humphrey is your all-pro center. So Humphrey at center, Lindstrom at guard, right guard. Penei Sewell is at right tackle. Not one Philadelphia Eagle offensive lineman made the all-pro team for the NFL Players Association, the award that players vote on. And by the way, it's in your contract, the NFLPA all-pro team. So don't say it doesn't matter. And anybody that says it doesn't matter has no idea what they're talking about when it comes to legacies. Still, I'm too young to have seen Jerry Rice, but with as much as they throw the ball, my God almighty, Josh, Jerry Rice in today's NFL, you couldn't mug him going down the sidelines. He would set records that would never be ever touched. And he's got records now that won't be touched. He's the greatest offensive weapon I've ever seen, non-quarterback, is Jerry Rice, and that includes running backs. This guy's got over 200 touchdowns, okay? And he touches the ball 4 times a game. Just put that into perspective. He's got records that will never be touched. And today it's a pass-happy league. Don't you think somebody would have broken that record by now? Most yardage? No. Hey, Sills, let's get it on. Hey, Xander, did I miss a super chat? If I did, because I was reading the All-Pro team, let me know, man. Okay, I appreciate you guys. Please hit the like button here. Yeah, I mean, so that one Eagle made the first team All-Pro team for the NFL Players Association. That kind of shocked me defensively. As I predicted, this would play out this way. Okay, as predicted, this will be on the Riders All-Pro team too. Interior line, way to go, Jalen Carter, man. Congratulations. That's a great honor. Sitting right next to Chris Jones, I thought they would have gave it to Cam Hayward in Pittsburgh. Instead, they gave it to Jalen Carter. I voted for Carter. Hurts is going to haunt you for the next month. Hashtag win. How you doing? So congratulations to Jalen Carter on being named All-Pro. Dexter Lawrence is the nose. Your inside backers, as I thought would play out, Fred Warner and Roquan Smith. Some of you are going to go like this. Did Zach Bond get jobbed? Zach Bond had a better year than Fred, I think. But it's not the way it works. It's a reputation award. Along with the great Fred wasn't awful. Okay, Roquan I thought was really good. But, I mean, this guy hasn't built the equity up with the players yet. He probably hasn't built the equity up with the riders yet. He'll get there. Okay, he made a Pro Bowl. That's a big honor, man, especially for a guy who was lost. Kyle Hamilton and Xavier McKinney are your safeties. Patrick Surtain and Derek Stingley are your corners. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you had 2 Eagles make the Pro Bowl team, according to the players. Jalen Carter and Saquon Barkley. Do I think more should have been on there? Here, let me see. Let me go back here. The quarterback is a non-starter. Tight end. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football right now. Chase and Jefferson, no, there's no debate. Barkley, no debate. Left tackle, Wirfs versus Jordan Mailata. I would have put Mailata there. Okay? I would have put Jordan Mailata there. I think Jordan Mailata had a better year. As a matter of fact, I probably think Jordan Mailata hasn't built enough equity up. I think he had a better year than Wirfs, even though he had a really good year. Left guard, Tooney versus Landon Dickerson. Hey, you know, when I say that Joe Tooney from Kansas City had a better year than Landon, those 2 guys, and the kid from Indianapolis, those 3 guys are the 3 best guards now that Zach Martin's no longer the guy. I mean, if you put any one of those guys in there, I still think Tooney's the best. Okay? I wouldn't have a problem on the 2nd and 3rd team. Not at all. But Joe Tooney's the best left guard in football right now. Mahomes has a lot to do with that. Penei Sewell at right tackle versus Lane. That's a non-starter. Sewell's the best right tackle in the game right now. And by the way, you know how much of a difference it is? It's about as wide as this paper between him and Lane. It's not a big gap. You're talking about 2 guys. If you flip the coin and went, Sills, I'm going to put Lane there. All right. And then Sewell. Sewell's probably the best one. But everyone knew Sewell's going to be the right tackle. Okay? Dude, nobody on the planet thinks that Lane outplayed Penei Sewell this year. Nobody. And the victors get the spoils. Best record in football. Home field advantage. Top offense in football. What else do you want? Okay, nobody's talking about a Hall of Fame, Neil. Talking about All-Pro this year. The 2 tackles, I'm shocked Carter got it, but I'm happy. Jones is the best DT in the game. Best other inside tackle is Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is better than Jalen Carter, but he will be the top guy in about 2 years. Carter's a great player. He's only in his 2nd year. So when I say Dexter Lawrence is better, don't get your butt hurt. This guy had 10 sacks or something like 9 or 10 sacks. I forget what it was. At the nose tackle position. I mean, nose tackles don't have 10 sacks. I mean, say what you will. Roquan, great year. He's the best inside linebacker in football right now. Warner's 2nd. And here. Roquan Smith is the best inside linebacker in football. Warner is 2nd. Zach Bond had a better year probably than all of them. Okay? No diss. No diss. Xavier McKinney was the best safety in football. Cornerbacks, Surtain and Stingley are the best corners in the game. And this kid, Kyle Hamilton, is probably – wait a minute. I'll take that back. McKinney had the best year for a safety. Hamilton's the best safety in football right now. He's the best. Okay. Zach Bond's number 1 in your eyes? Zach Bond probably had a better year than the other 2 guys, but he's not better than those 2. I think sometimes that gets jaded in how you put those guys on those teams. And it's hard sometimes to differentiate those 2. Who's the better? Like, look at this. How hard is it for you to go into the playoffs and do this. How many people, where would you put Patrick Mahomes' year this year? Where? At the top quarterbacks. What do you say? 7, 8? What quarterback would you take in the postseason right now over him to win a game? I wouldn't pick anybody. And that includes Josh Allen. So it's kind of like, I mean, you got to have a reality conversation with yourselves. Okay? Say, okay. And Reyes says probably is somewhere in like 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there, right? Would you take any quarterback in the playoffs over him? I wouldn't. You want to hear something crazy? With another victory in the postseason, he passes Joe Montana with 16 playoff wins and becomes number 2 all time in playoff wins. And he's not 30 yet. I mean, Brady did a lot of his damage post 30 years of age, really plus 35. This guy's not even 30. I mean, he's going for a 16th playoff win. It's insane on how good he is. But hey, congratulations to Jalen Carter and to Saquon Barkley. It's quite an honor in what they did. By the way, give me a total right now, guys, if you can, on the likes. Please hit that like button. We appreciate you guys. Nick Sirianni spoke. Hey, Merrill Reese will join us at 5:30. He'll join us at 5:30 Eastern. Nick spoke today to the media, and I thought he said this was one of the better conversations that he has had. And I liked what he said. He said something in there that was really important, in my opinion, in how he prepared the football team this week. And I liked it. I want to get to that here. Let me find it here. Let's see here. Okay. Ask them the question about, somebody brought this up too. Seals, do you think they'll do anything different this week and put up new game plans and go about trying to do things differently this week than what they've done all season long? And I said no. And then I heard Nick say this: you can't look at Sunday's game as a big game. You've got to look at Sunday's game like we have all year. Just because we won the NFC East, come on, M. Reyes, give me a 14-3 or whatever it is. Give me a 14-3. You can't think that you've won 14 ball games. You won the East. You can't do any of that. Because when you start thinking like that, that's when you get in trouble. You got to start and keep doing the thing. You can't be a champion when you feel like it. I think he listens to the show, because that's exactly what I said a couple of days ago. That's what I said last week. I said that shit right here. You can't. He said today, did he not, in the presser? You can't be a champion when you feel like it. You can't be a winner when you want to be. You got to practice it always. That's exactly what we said last week. You can't pretend to be a champion and then all of a sudden flick the switch and think you're going to be, because it doesn't work like that. It's a mindset going into games. It's a mindset in your preparation. You know, the great teams and the great coaches that I've been around, I swear to you, you can get into a NFL or a college football season. Most of the players don't know what their record is. They don't know. You know, we were saying how fast the season has gone, this 18-game or this 17-game, 18-week season has gone. Players, too, it goes that fast. You know, sometimes you have to be reminded, hey, you're 10-1 or whatever. Oh, really? Okay. Because you're so hyper-focused at just the job at hand for the weekend. These are all one-game seasons. 14 wins. Get this. M. Reyes is 14-3. Doesn't mean shit this weekend. It means nothing. It absolutely means nothing. The least important thing heading into that game Sunday at Lincoln Financial are the records. You're both in a wild card weekend. That's it. And it's single elimination. You're starting a new season, but the difference is you lose this time, you go home. There's more pressure on Philly this weekend than there is Green Bay. Nobody's expecting Green Bay to win. The only people that are expecting Green Bay to win is Green Bay. I like what Nick said about the Packers. The Packers are one of the best coached and well-prepared teams, and he's got great respect for what Matt LaFleur does. Okay? You can say whatever you want about Jordan Love. He's better than Hurts. You know why? He utilizes his talent more. He's asked to do it. He's the centerpiece of their success. Hurts is not the centerpiece. We just got through saying at the top of the program, he's not the centerpiece of your success this year. He's part of it. I think AJ's more of a centerpiece. I thought it was a fabulous point yesterday that Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Packers, said. AJ Brown sucks the air out of so much of the defense's concern because all of that attention has to go to him. Then why aren't other guys open? Why didn't Hurts use the other guys? Because he can't. Jordan Love has to spread the ball around. I can't believe what a knee bender, like I said, that Elliott guy is. To sit there and suggest that that guy is a bad quarterback is fucking ridiculous. Anybody who says that, your guy is nowhere near that guy. I will say this about your guy, though. Your guy has an innate ability. He can make 10 shitty plays. That one play will be enough to win it. That's called keeping it going. Never quitting. He's got a really great innate thing about himself and not getting too down. A lot of guys can't do that. Bad plays start coming, you start seeing this, that needle going the other way. He doesn't do that. You know what it is? It's like he's got selective memory, Hurts. Hurts will make a couple shitty plays, and you're like, damn, dude, this guy is nowhere. He'll make one play. Before you know it, that's the play of the game. Really, the only game that I saw that I thought he played well in this year was Pittsburgh. I thought the rest of those games were spotty. Okay? Love can beat you. Green Bay has no advantages anywhere but the most important position, quarterback. That's why they've got a puncher's chance to win. They've got a puncher's chance to win because their quarterback is better. Here we go again. They don't have the roster. They've got the quarterback. The quarterback advantage always keeps you in the game. The Eagles' roster is superior to the Green Bay Packers. It's superior across the board everywhere. There's really no advantage. Okay? There's no advantage. Quarterback for the Packers. They spread the ball around. Vic said it the other day, too. One thing that kid does really well, he keeps you on your heels. You really don't know what they're doing. They try spreading you out immediately, and he goes to multiple targets. I showed you, man, there was like 8 guys on that team with over 30 catches. And there's not one guy on that football team with 1,000 yards. And there they are in the playoffs, in the toughest division in football. Green Bay's wobbled all year. I'm going to be very interested to see. See, Green Bay had to play playoff football all the way to the end. You didn't. You let off the gas pedal. You had 2 weeks where you didn't have to do shit. Right? You didn't have really. Well, kind of. You had to do something in. No, you dropped that Washington game. You came back the final 2 weeks. And thank God those teams were dogs. You didn't have to really do anything in the final 2 weeks. I think the Eagles have let off the gas pedal the last 2 weeks. I mean, you're going to go, well, they won. And I'm going to go, yeah, but they didn't have their starters out there. They weren't playing with starters. Okay, they weren't. The passing game was going to be completely different now that you're going to get Hurts back. You weren't working on things to get your passing game going. It's going to be a different concept. It's going to be a different game plan. There's going to be different skill set things that are going to be involved and implemented in the game plan versus Green Bay that Hurts can do and can't do that McKee and Pickett can do. They're better in the pocket than him. That doesn't mean, by the way, that those guys should be in there. I'm not saying that. That is nowhere near what anything I'm saying. Okay? And if Jalen Hurts has a bad half, stop with the shit about, hey, Will Sills, don't you? No. Absolutely not. Hurts gives you the best chance to win the Super Bowl. End of story. Stop with Tanner. Okay? Stop with Tanner. I saw a bunch of people. And again, the Jalenites all go like this when you say that Tanner played well. You know what happens? They get butthurt because all these guys start going, oh, you want him? And nobody said that. Nobody said that. Okay? For what Jalen brings to the table in his career so far, sorry, but the dude can ball. Hate his style all you want, but it's proven to win. Dude, once again, Jalen had the same style when he was at Alabama. They yanked his ass out of there because they could. Okay? You can't do it in the pros. Come on, man. This guy has a great roster around him. He's a good football player, but don't give me that shit. You're kidding yourself if you think that guy could carry a football team by himself. If I put him in Green Bay, he ain't winning games up there. Not with that talent. You had to get A.J. Brown for him to be a good player. Those other quarterbacks don't need that shit. They don't. What elite guy? Here, let's take a look at those playoff teams and take a look at the elite receivers. Those guys. The Chiefs don't have an elite receiver. The Bills don't. The Ravens don't. You could make the argument that Nico Collins is. Okay. Chargers don't. The Lions don't. The Bucks don't. Mike Evans is past his time. Cooper Kupp with the Rams, maybe. Terry McLaurin in Washington, Packers don't. Steelers don't. Broncos don't. Eagles got two. And the Vikings have one. It's funny, all the teams that have the great rosters have the receivers. How many elite wide receivers are in the playoffs right now? Let's take a look at that one. Chiefs, none. Bills, none. Ravens, none. Texans, I don't think Nico Collins is top 10, so none. Chargers, none. Lions, Amon St. Brown. Buccaneers, none. Cooper Kupp, sure. Commanders, Terry McLaurin. Packers, none. Steelers, none. Broncos, none. Vikings, one. There's 4 elite wide receivers in the playoffs, and the Eagles add 2. 6. There's 2 on one team. Philly. Get this. Mike Evans not elite? No, he's not elite anymore. He's a really good football player. I think he's in his 14th year or his 12th year. No, he's not. Okay? No, he's not. He look, you think Mike Evans is in his prime? Mike Evans is 34 years old. Puka. Elite top 10? I don't think Puka's a top 10 guy. I think Puka's a really good ball player. Okay? What does that have to do? Your resume means shit right now in the 2025 playoffs. Mike Evans, 11 years, 11,000 yards. That means nothing. Okay? So let me ask you this. Would you take Tyreek Hill over Mike Evans? Yeah. Would you take A.J. Brown over Mike Evans? Yeah. Would you take DK Metcalf over Mike Evans? Yeah. Would you take Justin Jefferson over Evans? Yeah. Would you take Jamar Chase over Evans? Yeah. I mean, I could go down the list. I'll take Cooper Kupp over him right now. How far down do you want to go? Mike Evans has accomplished great things, but to say he's elite, by the way, how old? Hey, somebody with some brains, how old is Mike Evans? How old is he right now? And Addison and Jefferson remind me of AJ and Devontae. What's this? What are you talking about? How old? Here, I'll do it. How old Mike Evans is? Mike Evans is not in his prime any longer. Mike Evans is not an elite. Mike Evans has had an elite career. To sit there and tell me you think he's one of the top 10 wide receivers right now in pro football, that would be crazy. He's not. So let's see where he is right now and how old he is. He's 31. He's 31 years old. He's not too old. Still in there, but he's on his back nine. Okay? I mean, here, top 10 wideouts. Let's just do it with other people. Top 10 wide receivers. NFL. Eagles have two of them. PFF. Just go there. PFF, right? We'll just use them. Just use those guys. Here. Yeah. Top 10 wide receivers. I would probably Jefferson's the best. Chase is in there. Tanner, please hop in and speak. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't need anybody doing my show for me. Chase is better than Jefferson. No, he's not. He had a better year than Jefferson. Yeah, anyway. So this playoffs, you're looking at a scenario here where, again, where's the elite players? Chiefs. They don't have any elite receivers. These are all predicated and dictated on the quarterback's success. Jordan Love has no elite guy in his huddle. But they've won a ton of games because of the quarterback. And I think the quarterback's gotten hurt. Okay. Something else Nick said about their preparation when they were looking at Green Bay. I happen to like Green Bay a lot. By the way, Xander will be with us at the bottom of the hour. And then we'll have our friend Merrill Reese with us at 5:30. Green Bay does a lot of things well. They picked up their defense over the last 3 weeks. Am I concerned? If you're the Eagles, are you concerned about one thing they do? You know what that is? What would you be concerned about Green Bay heading into this football game? What would you be concerned about with Green Bay? Okay? What would you be concerned about? Concerned, I'm talking about the one area of their football team that would, there you go. Correct. Stopping the run. Josh Jacobs has had a great year. The two defensive tackles have to play big in this game on Sunday. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter have to be great, not good. They have to be great. How many yards did he get in that first game? They're a better running team now. And as we mentioned it with Wayne Larrivee, we said yesterday, just like with Jalen Hurts and them not being able to throw the ball, I think the injuries to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, remember what I said after week 4? Nobody bit into it. I brought it up. I said, Saquon Barkley is changing the narrative of how they're going to win games. Everyone kind of walked over that and glossed over it. Well, he did. He changed the way they win games. And that's exactly what Josh Jacobs did in Green Bay. The injuries to those wide receivers and the quarterback forced them to have to run the ball and be physical. Nick said it today. Green Bay's a physical football team. They were almost forced into it on being a run team. And when the quarterback started getting healthy, that's when they started to look really good. I think he's been banged up the last 3 weeks. I think that plays a factor heading into this game on Sunday. Do I think this game has a chance to be close? The only way this game is close on Sunday is if the Green Bay Packers play with a lead. If the Packers play with a lead and they can keep that lead until the fourth quarter, make it a fourth quarter football game, and take your best shot. The same thing Washington did. You got to make this a fourth quarter football game. You got to stack the box. They can stop the run. They're good at run stopping. You got to make Hurts, who, by the way, let's just do this. Hurts has been out 3 weeks. Hasn't had a great year. Make him do things that he hasn't done all year. Make him win a significant game. Make him go do it. Can he do it? Yeah, he can do it. Hurts has shown he can win a game. But make him go do it. You know why? He hasn't been asked. How about we do this? Let's compromise. He hasn't been asked to. They're gonna listen. Here, guys. If Barkley gets going and he has 160 yards in this game, you're not going to need Jalen Hurts to do shit in this ball game. The game's over, and it's probably a blowout. Okay, if Saquon gets going, and I mean, it's 160 yards rushing on 25 carries, and he's got 3 touchdowns or 2. You're not going to really need anything out of that deal. You're not going to really. But if they do what Pittsburgh did and they stop the run on him and they load the box like that on them, a little bit like what Washington did, okay, I mean, they're going to be in it. I don't know when it. I don't know if they have enough to beat them. But I think they have enough to keep with them. Okay? Hey, and I would say this about Saquon. I would say this about Saquon Barkley heading into this game. Boy, I'll tell you what, man. Me not getting that 2105, well, I'll tell you what then. The only thing that's left for me to do is be a Super Bowl MVP and go out there and have the best postseason I have ever had in my life. I can go out there and just win that Super Bowl. Because right now they've put it on him. They've burned the boats behind him. There's nothing left to play for. Ain't no records. Ain't no individual records. There's one thing left. Boats have been burned. You got to win the Super Bowl. You passed on the all-time single-season rushing record. Okay. You won 14 games. Wasn't good enough to win home field. That's fine. Okay. This is all in here. Okay. This is it. You've pushed all your chips in. And we said it yesterday. And I'll say it and reiterate it again. And I'll reiterate it again. There's no excuses here with this. Okay? I've told you before. Do I think you have a roster to win the Super Bowl? I do. Do I think you have a quarterback to win a Super Bowl? I don't. But I want to preface this by saying, I don't think you have a guy who can carry you to a Super Bowl. I think you have a guy who can win it. Like here with Josh. Josh don't have a good enough roster to help him win it. He can't play poorly. He can't have a B-plus game. If Jalen plays a C-plus game, the Eagles could still blow Green Bay out. If Josh Allen has a C-plus game, the Bills will get blown out by Denver. Sills, the thing is, if Green Bay stacks the box, AJ will be wide open. If Hurts can't make the throw, Eagles need to reevaluate things. Let's get there. I'm not talking getting there. Let's see what shakes out first. Because that is the game. Crowley, that's totally the game. That's the game. That is as simple as you can possibly be when you're talking about this weekend's game. Load the box, see if Hurts can beat me, and see if Hurts can win a playoff game. Okay? That's exactly the game. It is. That's the game. I mean, I got to tell you, Jeff Hafley has improved so much, in my opinion, as a coordinator. It's crazy great. He's gotten so much better in understanding his personality. This guy comes in from BC, and now he's the D coordinator for the Packers. He's done a nice job. They got good players at every level on their defense, especially in the back end, and especially where it counts the most, in a safety position, because that helps your corners, even if they're limited. And the Packer corners are limited. They're not great. I would make this conversation to you like Green Bay's corners versus the Eagles' corners. Not in the room. Not in the room. And I'm going to tell you what, that I'm going to change my opinion on why your secondary this year is better than 22. You know why? Why do you think your 2022 secondary is better, or 2024 secondary is better than your 22? Why would you think? Remember I told everyone, Edgerrin Cooper, I was the first guy to bring his name up from A&M. I liked him. His star year for a rookie. Okay? A star year. Chop Robinson, too. That's the guy I wanted the Eagles to draft. He's had a great year. Why do you think the cornerbacks have had a better year this year than in 22 when he went to the Super Bowl? The linebackers, Twiz, that's a pretty good one. 22 defense was 30th. I don't think they were 30th. They were top 10 defense. 2023 was 30th. DeJean Sills. Thoughts on the Eagles signing Lewis Kine? Who? Coaching. Okay. There it is. There it is. Way to go, Buckhalter. They're better because they finished number one in the NFL with no pressure. They're more athletic and more talented than the 22 guys. You had 70 sacks and monster pressure on the quarterback. You ain't got that this year. What does that mean? Those dudes are more responsible for playing great secondary football than the two center fielders you had in 22. How much football do you have to play when you're having that kind of volume of pressure on the quarterback and you got 70 sacks? Those routes don't develop as much. You've got constant pressure. This year you didn't, which meant what? Those routes were more developed. They're better cover guys. You got better cover guys this year than you did in 22. You know, I started looking at the defense and I started slicing it up more, and I'm going, how do they compare to that 22 defense heading into the playoffs? They had more pressure, more pass rushers in 22. You're not even remotely in the room. You're not even close, actually. That could be a problem heading into this Packer game. You got to get pressure on Love. But how compatible are they? They're better against the run. They are. That's Jordan Davis, too. Remember something. That year in 22, you were 17th. Okay? With Davis and Carter, you're top 7. That's great. Dude, if you're in the top 10 and stopping the run, you're just as good as the top 5 teams in the NFL are stopping the run. You could move those teams around like chess pieces. I don't care. You're a top 5 team in stopping the run. You could be the best team one weekend in stopping the run. If you're in that conversation and you're holding a team around 100 yards a game and a little bit under it, shit, you're doing a great job. Especially in today's NFL with a ton of play action. The group you have at corner's better. Okay? You're better at what you have this year heading in. Your linebacker play is as compatible as it was. You're not any better than you were in 22 than you are now. Bond might be a little better, but TJ had 160 tackles himself. And the other guy, White, had 120. Make it sound like those guys were dog shit. Those guys had 300 tackles between them that year. On a suspect run defense, middle of the road defense, when it came against the run. Seals, do you think a lack of serious pass pressure off the edge will be an issue during the playoff run? I do. But then again, the one thing that Vic Fangio has done and shown me, Keith, with the lack of pressure coming from certain guys, has been that he's manufactured it. Dean's pretty good at pressing and getting up inside the pocket. He's a pretty good blitzer. When they ask him to come and get home, he does, man. He's pretty good at it. I think the continued growth of Nolan Smith, you're seeing it. You're seeing it. Okay? Okay? You're seeing it. You're seeing the pressure. And you're seeing his motor. My question with Nolan Smith, he won't have a long career. He's a little dude. So you have to do everything you can to help him. I'd blitz him off the weak side. Don't put him near tight ends because tight ends are going to wear his ass out. How I would go at Nolan Smith, not that Nolan Smith is going to be a guy that you circle on the chalkboard yet. He's not there. But you know what I would do if he becomes that? I just put a tight end over on him. I pound him into the ground. He's a tiny dude, man. He's not a big guy. Fangio brings that up all the time. He's a physical guy. He's not soft. That's not what I'm saying. He's just a little dude. And Vic says it all the time in his press conferences. He's pretty physical for a small dude. That's not me. That's Vic Fangio saying that. Okay? This is a stupid-ass take. Oh, let me get this right. The defensive line was neutralized in the Super Bowl in Arizona. Yeah, right. Well, since Kansas City played on that too. Man, Fields and refs can always count on somebody. You know what? Hey, can I tell you what the built-in excuse is for Hurts already? If he fails in the playoffs, he was rusty. Remember I said that. If they lose that game Sunday, and I'm not saying you will, but if they lose that game Sunday, they got a built-in excuse. Oh, he was rusty. And, the layoff, I'm just prepping you right now for what is to be said because you guys have a million excuses like that guy just did. Slippery field, referees, the run game is what took the numbers away. So I'm going to write it down now. We want to get it out of the way now. If Jalen Hurts loses in the postseason, it'll be because of rust. Head coach said today that wasn't a factor. Okay? That wasn't a factor. Look, I want to circle this up with Green Bay. Green Bay's a good team. They're a well-coached team. Should they beat you? No. Can they beat you? Yes. But they have to have an A game to beat you. You could beat them with a B-plus game. That's how talented your roster is. Okay? Okay? I don't have to pray. He will. I don't have to pray. Okay? Pray. It's been shitty all year. Oh, wait. The run game took everything away from him. That's what I should do tomorrow. I should write down all the excuses people make. The layoff. Barkley's the reason your passing game sucks this year? How come that's not a factor like I've been saying in Detroit or in Baltimore? In some aspects, even Minnesota. How come that doesn't affect those teams? You know why? You got better play calling guys that fit the scheme of what they're doing up there. Kevin O'Connell is not going to have a dual threat quarterback in Minnesota. He's just not. I thought that draft pick they took, J.J. McCarthy, what's his name? J.J. McCarthy, the kid from Michigan, is the biggest reach on the planet. It's kind of like a Hurts draft. I mean, this guy had 300 passing attempts at Michigan. I don't know. Okay. Look at this guy. Still's glazing the Packers. I just said they don't have any place on the planet. Get this. You want to hear people that listen to 2% of what you say? This guy, Joe, here. I said there's no place on that football team that Green Bay has that he have an advantage except the quarterback. Okay? There's no advantage. They got a better play calling head coach than you do. And they got a better play caller than you. Matt LaFleur actually has a Super Bowl ring. Okay? I mean, they do a great job. By the way, they do a great job at developing quarterbacks there and receivers. You know the one thing that's different about Green Bay, their organization? That one thing Howie Roseman has never done in his entire time in Philly. Green Bay develops receivers. Philly doesn't. You don't. You've had one wide receiver in 20 years that you developed that was a really good player, and that's Devontae. Name me another one that you drafted. Name me one. One. In 30 years. Who? Deshaun Jackson? All right. Yeah, you know. I wouldn't call him elite. I do love that player, though, man. I do love that dude, man. Miracle in the Meadowlands. I do love that guy. I'm jacked up about this. I can't wait. So many things are going to be answered this playoffs. Look at the storylines. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Shelton Gibson. Who's that? All of them. Will Mahomes win a third? Can golf take the Lions to their first title in 68 years? I mean, all these. Will Hurts win a Super Bowl? And shut Big Sills up. Oh, man. And then, of course, hey, by the way, was the drama ended today at Lincoln Financial? Did the drama end? Did Jalen step out and onto the field today? Holy shit. Very Jerry Jones-like, man. But then again, we know that the owner is a movie director or whatever he is a movie producer. And he likes that bullshit too. And you know, I was listening. I tuned on because I didn't even know what was going on today. So I heard Mike Gill, and he covers the Eagles too, along with the guys on Birds 365, and they were all going, "You really didn't think he was?" No, nobody with any brains thought he wasn't playing, except for the guys like Emilio Lacho. You know, he's got other things on his mind right now too. So I would make sure you keep that in the back of your mind when you hear Emilio Acho talking about it, right? He's got a couple more things on his mind. You know, when you go to a green room at Fox these days, man, you never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. How you doing? With that being said, it is playoff time. Holy shit. I mean it, man. Deliver the mail. This is it. It is time on Sunday. And that means now at 3:30, don't forget Merrill Reese will join us at 5:30. It is time for our friend, the co-host of Birds 365, Big Z, Xander Krause.
What's going on, Big Cells?
Hey, man, I saw some kick-ass garb you were giving away today, man. That shit
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was dope. And then my internet crashed. I felt like Big Sills, and I got kicked off the air. So I got the jacket. I'll do it tomorrow. So for those who missed it, I'll give it away tomorrow on Birds 365. All right.
That thing looks good, man. Good stuff, man. Way to go, guys. Make sure you check it out for Birds 365. So, you know, for me today, you know, anticipation. What will be? It's like a Broadway show. Is Jalen coming out of the tunnel at Lincoln Finance? There he is. Oh, my God. Look, you're like, dude, easy. He was walking out anyway. Nobody was ever. Why the manufacturer? I heard John say it, too. What's the end game to this? What's the end game to manufacturing something that didn't? And by the way, do I think it's going to matter Sunday? No, I don't. But why manufacture shit like this?
I don't know. I don't know why they do this. This is one of those things where normally you'll at least understand like why they're doing something, you know, where it's like, okay, I get it, competitive advantage or whatever, but I don't see the advantage to having Hurts in the protocol for 3 weeks. I really don't. Now, obviously, they did it for a reason. Do I think he could have played last week if he needed to? I'm assuming. I don't know that. I'm assuming that they bent the protocol a little bit. That's what John told me. That's what I'm going off of. But it is a little weird. Again, I don't really care anymore. He's ready to go now. I don't want to hear it. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for this. You're playing the game. That's what we wanted to hear. That's what we wanted to know. And that's where we're at. So he's going to play this weekend, and we should be ready to rock. My bigger question on the injury front is Jordan Love okay?
No, what I heard that they didn't allow video.
I'm just saying. The kid had a weird injury. Couldn't feel his throwing hand all of a sudden. You know, we were told he hit a funny bone. I mean, I've hit a funny bone in my life before. I hit my funny bone often. It lasts about 15, 20 seconds. It doesn't last for a whole game of football, you know? And I don't know. I'm just saying, keep your eyes peeled on that because they might be talk about competitive advantage, talking about trying to, you know, play your opponent a little bit. They could be trying to do that with Jordan Love. I agree, sure enough. It might have been like a nerve or something, but still, that's a weird injury. And that's not one of those injuries that's, you know, my bruise healed. Like if he doesn't have nerve, my brother, when he was in the military, he fell on something in basic training and he cut a gash in his hand right here. And he lost feeling in his thumb. He cut the nerve on his thumb. He still to this day says, I've gotten used to it. I know how to live with it now, but I don't feel my thumb. So if you're throwing hand, you lost feeling, and I don't know, that's a weird injury. That's not an injury I'd want my quarterback to have going into the playoffs. That's for sure.
Boy, I guess the Packers will want exactly what Xander's talking about there for those people in the Eagle locker room to be talking exactly like that. Right there. I hope every Eagle player and coach is talking exactly the way Xander Krause is talking, because at the end of the day, this is one and done. Cut my fucking finger off like Ronnie Lott did in an NFC championship game when he got it smashed. And they said, what do you want us to do with it? He said, cut it off. And they cut his finger off in the NFC championship game.
Take it. Take the finger. Hey, I don't need it.
This ain't playing against the Bears in week 4. This is it. This is it, man. Nothing else here, man. I don't want to hear any shit on their side either.
I
Let's
don't
go
either.
play 60.
You're right. Let's play 60. You're not wrong about it. Look, where I agree with you is who cares? You got to go and win a football game. I mean, I don't care who's out there.
You bet.
Go and win a football game. And I think that goes for both sides. I think the Birds are ready to do that this week. So I'm starting to feel pretty good. So I'm starting to feel pretty good about this
game. Like a champion. You feel like a champion.
I'm wondering if my score prediction this week might shock some people. All right.
Well, I said this earlier. If the Packers want to keep this thing in the room, they've got to load the box, make Hurts beat them. Let's see if he can. Okay. Last time they played, they forced 2 turnovers in the kid. They made it a competitive game. They ended up out-wheeling them because they had a better roster. And they're going to have Josh Jacobs have a big game. If Barkley goes for 150 or 140, it's over. Blowout. It's not going to be close. But if they can hold him down around the 100, the mark down in there, it's going to be a fourth quarter football game. If you're Green Bay, you want this thing to get into the fourth quarter. Why? Because you don't have the horses to match up with that thing. You just don't. There's too many skilled players across the board in Philadelphia. There's just too many to sit there and think that how about this? There's more chances that the Packers don't play well against the Eagles on Sunday. Why? Well, dude, AJ's not going to suck, and Devontae's not going to suck, and Goddard's not going to suck, and the defense is not going to suck, and Hurts is not going to suck. All of these things aren't happening at once. If Jordan Love sucks, it's over.
Yeah, that's true. Way bigger margin for error in the Eagles locker room.
Did you like what I said about that the Eagles have a wider margin for mistakes in the game? And I think that's by design. I do,
and that's a Howie Roseman credit, right?
Yep. I also happen to think San Francisco does that, and I happen to think this is what they did in Baltimore this year, what they didn't do a year ago. What was the one difference that they did this year compared to a year ago? They brought Henry in to give Lamar the chance that Hurts has in this. Maybe he doesn't have to play A+. You said it perfectly about Allen. Sills, do you think Allen can win 4 in a row? No, I don't. Because he could play B+ football, Xander, and lose.
There's some people saying
if Hurts plays B+ football, they win the Super Bowl.
There's some people saying the Bills are on upset watch. What do you think of that?
They're always on upset watch because it all comes down to how he plays and if that defense can stop people.
I like the matchup for the Broncos. I like the matchup for the Broncos. They got a great defense. They got good players on that defense, especially in the secondary. I think they could make it hard on Josh Allen. So that'll be an interesting game. And then obviously they have Sean Payton, who's probably a Hall of Fame and close to Hall of Fame level coach. So pretty good. But that should be an interesting game.
I ranked those games this weekend. I got the Chargers in Houston 6th. That's a 4:30 Saturday CBS game. I got Pittsburgh at Baltimore 5th. That is a Prime Video 8 p.m. Saturday game. 4th, I got Washington at Tampa Bay, NBC, 8 p.m. Sunday. 3rd, and here's my top 3 teams. I got Denver at Buffalo, CBS, 1 o'clock Sunday. I got the 2nd. I think Minnesota. I want to see how you bounce back after getting your doors blown off by Detroit in Los Angeles versus the Rams. There's going to be a lot of emotion going on in LA because of what's going on with those fires. And people want to go, they want to have a little reprieve to go in there. A lot of people are going to have emotion heading into that game, especially those players. When you see all the things that are going on in Pacific Palisades right now, I thought somebody sent me a World War II video.
I know.
I mean, I didn't know. Places are burned down to the ground. That's a Monday night game. Xander, I think the Green Bay Philly game was the game of the weekend.
I do. I agree. And you got Tom Brady calling it. You got the #1 Fox crew. Should be a good one, man. By the way, a little update for the people. Jalen Hurts is out at practice right now, throwing the ball around with no helmet on, looking good, baby, at the link. So they moved practice to the link today, not at NovaCare. I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe they just wanted to kind of, get a feel for the stadium. I don't know why they do that, but they moved the practice to the link, and Jalen Hurts is out there. So all is good on the Jalen Hurts front in Philadelphia.
Nick said that the NovaCare field was frozen and that, they wanted to be able to go over to Lincoln Financial because they got better resources over there to make
they got new sod and stuff.
The new sod over there.
Yeah.
So they said that it's a little more difficult to get work done over there right now. I buy that. Okay. I mean, they're not going to have the same type of facility over there.
Yeah. Jeff McClain tweeted out it's fresh new sod at the link today.
Yeah. So to me, I think that he's not bullshitting you, at least in this one here. Hey, what about the Pro Bowl team that was voted on? Now, here's the Pro Bowl teams that you make money. Oh, no, this is all pro team. Excuse me.
This isn't the official all pro team, though.
It's in your contract.
This one is not.
Madden is too. Madden is too.
Wait. I just want to make sure I'm interpreting you correct. Even this one, this is not the main all pro team, right?
I know. It's not the AP.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure you knew it wasn't the main.
Yeah, but these are in your contract.
Okay,
Madden,
cool.
Making the all Madden team is also in your contract.
All Madden? Madden is in your contract?
Yeah, Madden's in your contract. Hey, dude, let me tell you something. How'd you like to be on a game? Hey, that game, it's talking about exposure and all that shit. Those guys being on an all Madden team, man. I mean, did you not see that special they did a couple of years ago?
Yeah, no, they care. Reporters hate Madden, but the players definitely care about Madden.
Okay.
They all play it.
It's the AP team and it's the NFLPA team. You know why? The players vote on this.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the players in the league voting on this here too. So here's let me get your thoughts here. What you think here on this one here? So look, like you said, it's not the official Associated Press, but here is the Lamar Jackson is the quarterback on this all pro team. What do you make of that?
Not who I would have put.
Who'd you would have put there?
I probably would have put Josh Allen.
Or Burrow?
I think Burrow's right there. I probably have Lamar 3 there. I might have Lamar 4 there. I'd probably go Allen, Mahomes, Burrow.
Oh.
No, Mahomes. I'd probably go. Look, I know Mahomes didn't have his great year, but are people really trying to convince me that this guy is not the greatest quarterback in the world? I mean, this guy has 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. I don't really give a shit they didn't have a good year. He's 15-2 for crying out loud. As far as I'm concerned, he could win first team all pro every single year, and there would be no issue with it. Okay? So I'll put Mahomes at 2, maybe 3 this year behind Burrow because Burrow's just been so special this year. And then I'd probably go Lamar at 4.
You could make this argument. I'll give you any quarterback you want in the playoffs, and I'll take Mahomes. Would you take any quarterback over Mahomes heading into the playoffs?
Yeah. Can you imagine Mahomes on our roster?
Talk about Madden. Okay, there's your Madden there. Hey, dude, this Brock Bowers kid had. Hey, you know what? I'm going to say this to you. They're probably going to give it to Jaden Daniels, the rookie of the year, right? But if you want to really go here, offensive rookie of the year, you might want to go Brock Bowers here. This kid is everything and more when he came out of Georgia. I wanted him in Philly. I did. I wanted him in Philly, and I know the Dolphins wanted his ass.
That's where the awards kind of pissed me off. Brock deserves something for this season. Dude, the players voted on him as an all-pro. I mean,
yes.
First year in the league, he impressed his peers that much. That's pretty impressive from him. He's had a crazy good year. Special player. Yeah,
absolutely here. Yeah, no. I see the video of Jalen running around out there. That must get your juices up and everybody excited. Seeing him out there.
My juices are flowing right now, baby. I'm wondering if Green Bay is even going to put up 16, 17 points on this defense.
If they're even going to show up. Jamar Chase and Jefferson are your wide receivers. Right?
Yeah, that's fine.
How about this?
Can I say something about the receivers? And don't take this, everybody, don't take this the wrong way. But I'm not saying Justin Jefferson's not insane. I'm not saying he's not a top guy. He is top 3. He's probably top 1 if we're being real. But can I say to you that he wouldn't be my top pick? I would take Jamar and AJ simply for their style over Justin Jefferson. I'm not saying that Justin Jefferson's not a crazy good player. I'm just saying my preference in receiver, I prefer a bigger body dude that is more physical at the point of attack and that has a big catch. Like Jefferson has a big catch radius, but that is more my style of receiver. I'm not saying AJ is better than Jefferson. I don't think he is, but give me an equal quarterback. I'd be perfectly fine taking AJ Brown. Perfectly fine.
Forrest Hill brings a great point up. Have you ever seen AJ Brown shut down?
No. Dude, listen.
The only person that shuts down AJ Brown is Hurts.
You give Hurts a lot of shit, right? And I think some of it's warranted. I don't think all of it's warranted. I think some of it's warranted. Can you imagine AJ Brown with Joe Burrow? Seriously, think about that for a second. Like, I know Jamar Chase is great. And even Justin Jefferson. But he did have Kirk Cousins, who's a freaking wide receiver machine. I mean, he's great for receivers.
Can you imagine AJ Brown with Kirk Cousins instead of Hurts?
Like, I don't know. I think AJ Brown is solidified as a top 3 receiver, and
yes.
He wouldn't be 3 for me, but I wouldn't have a problem with someone having him 3.
I like that style of play too.
You know who I have number 4? Who do you have number 4?
For what, wide receiver?
Yeah.
If I were to pick my top 5 receivers, it's Jefferson 1, and he's as great of an athlete. I saw last year him in 9 games get 1,100 yards with, I can't even remember who quarterbacked that team last year after Cousins went down.
I know.
He's just a freak show, man.
He is a freak show. I'm not saying he's not a freak show. I don't want people to think I'm not saying he's not
just
great.
Absolutely. He's one of those guys, and he runs great routes. He's a big guy. But that's a great comment by Forrest in here, man, about getting shut down. I have seen him shut down, and I've not seen AJ. I'm going to put AJ too. AJ is if you know why I like AJ so much as a player, not his bullshit stuff, which is all right. I don't really care about it. Mike had a lot of bullshit. He reminds me of Michael Irvin. He's a physical guy. He's a good third down guy. I enjoy watching him play. I really do. I'll tell you the least elite wide receiver I can't stand. I can't stand Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I am not a Tyreek Hill guy, man.
See, I like him. He's obviously super talented, but I think that type of
you don't get in the end zone enough.
That's what I mean. And that's where, like, I'll take the physical guy, especially a guy like AJ and Jamar, who they're not just physical. Like DK Metcalf is physical, but he's not polished. He's not a polished route runner. He doesn't have great hands. AJ Brown and Jamar, they have everything. They have the full package where they're big, they're physical, they're fast. They have great route running ability. Like, it's not their strong suit, but they're good at it. Those are my type of guys. I'll give you my top 5 receivers right now.
Okay, good. I'm gonna write the rest of them down.
Okay, number 5, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know it's a sleeper pick. Not everybody will go that route. I love the way he plays. I love the way he finds the open space. I think he's a perfect fit in Detroit, but I really like St. Brown. Number 4, I'm going CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb. I got a lot of shit on the channel about that a couple of months ago. I think CeeDee Lamb is certified. I think he's damn good, and you saw him produce this year with freaking Cooper Rush for half the year. Number 3, I'm going Justin Jefferson. Solely preference here. I'm not saying he's not the top talent, but number 3 on mine, I'd take Justin Jefferson. Number 2, I'll take A.J. Brown. And then number 1, I'm going to go Jamar Chase.
My 5 this year would be Jefferson 1, would be A.J. Brown 2, would be Amon St. Brown 3.
Ooh, nice.
Would be Jamar Chase 4. I'd put Cooper Kupp in there. And you could make
Cooper Kupp in this year?
No, just when he's healthy. I like Kupp in there.
But he's on the other side of his prime now, I think.
I would probably go Devontae Adams there at 5. I still like him a lot.
Yeah, and then you get into the 6-7 range. I'd probably go Tyreek Hill and then probably Puka. I don't know. I like Puka more than you do. You didn't have him top 10. I think Puka's top 10.
No, I think what he does is he does a great job at getting open in space.
Well, he
runs
the reason
well.
I like Puka is similar to the reasons I just told you that I like Jamar and AJ, right? He's a more versatile guy. He's not a one-trick pony. He's fast, great route running, great hands, great catch radius. I like Puka a lot.
You think Mike Evans is still top 10?
I think Evans is probably right around 9, 10, right in that range.
He's on the backside, like I said today. He's on the back 9 of his career.
I think that's fair. I mean, okay. I can give you 5. I can give you. I mean,
the kid in Detroit right now is better than him, but that doesn't mean
St. Brown is. I think St. Brown is. I had him 5 on my list. I think St. Brown's a beast, man. I think he's actually underrated by people grading out receivers because he doesn't look the part as much as like guys like you look at AJ Brown, you're like, that dude's a fucking beast, St. Brown, awesome.
The only problem I have with every one of these, not one of them won a Super Bowl. I mean, all these guys in the top 5 have not won a Super Bowl. A couple of them have been to it, but none of them have won it. Remember something, though. Terrell Owens and Randy Moss never won one. I mean, you can be a great player and it's just what it is. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That those guys have not won a Super Bowl.
Well, it's true of what you say where, receivers are a good piece to have, but they're not the necessary piece you need to win a Super Bowl. In a way, they're icing on the cake. And when you're a great organization, though, like Philly, you get this luxury, Sills, because our offensive line is incredible. Our defensive line is incredible. All the premier positions that you need, Philadelphia has checked that box. So that's when Howie goes, okay, I'm going to trade my first-round pick and pick up A.J. Brown. And by the way, when Howie sent that, this was before A.J. Brown was a top 10 receiver. He hadn't even had a 1,000-yard season, I don't think, at that point. So or maybe just over 1,000. He was with Tampa or in Tennessee, obviously, behind Derrick Henry in that run-first offense. So this is where, Howie gets it right, and we're able to have good receivers here because, we've prioritized the premium positions.
Did you agree with me with what I said? I looked at the defense last night, and I compared it to that 22. And I said the reason why you are better this year, you ended up finishing first. I think that team was second in pass defense.
Correct.
22. I said the reason that you're better this year is because you've actually had to do more than they did. You had 70 sacks in 22. You had volume pressure every freaking game. You had 4 dudes with multiple season sacks. You had one guy with 16 and a half. You don't have anything near that right now, which means what? These routes are getting more developed. And as good as Q played and as good as Slade played and as good as the safeties played this year, that secondary, in my opinion, is better because they had to do more. Okay? The linebacker play in 22 was pretty compatible. Bond's better than what TJ did, but it's compatible. One guy,
but both are better this year.
But again, it's compatible, man. I mean,
I see what you're saying. It's not like a drop off from 1 to like
he had 160 tackles that year. I mean,
TJ, I got you. That was probably a top 10 linebacking unit.
And I would pick Bond, but I mean, Nakobe and White had 120 tackles that season, dude. He was an alternate.
Yeah, but Nakobe's been downhill. Nakobe's got tackles for losses. I'm taking Nakobe Dean over White all day.
Okay, but the point is that unit was good.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I'm being petty.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying, though, is that secondary is better than what we're giving them credit for this year than what they had. Because, dude, you don't have a real big pass rusher this year. That team is void of a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Okay, look, your kid's coming on here a little bit, but that's not an established guy pass rusher where you go like this. I'm circling Nolan Smith's name on a chalkboard. I'm not doing that. He's nowhere near that.
Right.
You don't have – that's the only weak link on your defense right now is that you don't have volume pressure. And could that play a factor in the postseason? I do think so because why? The football traditionally gets out of quarterbacks' hands quicker in the postseason than it does in the regular season. You're not going to have big-time developing routes in the postseason.
That's going to be key, man. That's going to be key to watch how Kellen Moore is drawing up these plays in the postseason. I was talking to my buddy who's a Dallas fan the other day, and he's like, look, he's not a hater Dallas fan either. He's like, the Eagles are damn good. The Eagles have a chance. But he's like, if I were you, I would keep your eye on Kellen Moore. I mean, when we got to the playoffs, Kellen Moore drew up just some of the things he had Dak doing in that game were so bad. Keep your eye on that. And I'm like, oh, that's a fair point. Kellen didn't have great playoff games. Now, Dak didn't either. I put more blame on the player than I do the coach, but it's true. Kellen did not call his best games in the playoffs with Dak Prescott when they had the number 1 overall offense. And I think they were the 2 seed last year in the Cowboys. They were 12-5 or something.
Here's my concern with the Eagle game plan this weekend. Don't overcook it, man. They got a lot of chefs in the kitchen. They got a lot of people with input, and they don't have one guy making a decision on who's. I mean, the play caller should be 1,000% making that decision. I don't want to fucking hear anybody. Todd Monken is the total in charge guy in Baltimore. It's not It's not even John Harbaugh. It's not. Andy Reid is the number 1 dude. It was never Eric Bieniemy, and it's never Matt Nagy. Hey, how about that? What I said yesterday. Look out for Doug Peterson going to Kansas City and being the OC.
Yep.
If Matt Nagy's interviewing for that Jacksonville Jaguar job.
Matt Nagy's not getting that job, though.
I'm just saying, okay, well, guess what? He reinvented himself. I'll tell you what, he's going to get looks. He's a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year, and he has a winning record in Chicago. And if he goes down there with a Super Bowl ring on his finger, you're going to get looks, dude.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. A lot of guys, though, vying for not a lot of jobs,
I think more are going to be open after the playoffs. I do.
Really?
Are you really 100% sold Dallas is keeping Mike McCarthy? I know they told Chicago they denied their request.
No, but I don't I was talking to a Dallas fan, my buddy, about this too. I'm like, I don't think McCarthy was the problem. I don't think he was the problem this year. I think he had 3 great years with the 12-win seasons. I don't think McCarthy's the problem in Dallas at all. He certainly wasn't the problem this year. They were depleted by injuries all over the board. I'm not a huge McCarthy guy, but I don't think he's done a bad job there. I really don't. And his rebuttal to me was he's a solid coach, but he's not the coach to get us over the edge. He's not the coach to take us to the promised land. And I thought that was a fair take. So, but we'll see.
Even though a guy that has won it?
Look, for all the knocks on Jerry
He's
Jones,
won it.
He's a loyal guy, Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is loyal to his people. And for better or for worse, I view that as a good trait. I like people that are loyal. I'm loyal to my people. I'm loyal to my family. I understand the way Jerry operates in that regard. He's stuck with Garrett for how many years? He's a loyal guy. So I could see him bringing McCarthy back. Jerry's problem is, he's the GM, and I don't think he should be the GM.
No, he shouldn't be the GM, and it always ends up getting in the way of this guy's success here, too. There's no question about it.
Did you see that clip of Jerry acting, by the way?
I did. He was crying. I'm like this. I'm like, man.
That was good because that was real, and I tweeted out, that's my dream in life is to do what Jerry did, to have a business, a successful business, obviously worth billions of dollars, where all of my family is a part of it. I mean, people can hate on Jerry Jones. I get it, but that dude's going to die happy on his deathbed. I promise you that.
If you've ever been around him, let me just say this to you, man. When you're around Jerry Jones, he has guess what? I don't give a F attitude about anything. So that's why when someone asks him a question about trading a guy like Micah Parsons, he goes, I'd rather take a paternity test than sit there. I'd rather take a paternity test when he's being sued by someone who says
that is the funniest comment.
That is absolutely a goat comment.
I don't even think Sileo would make that comment. I don't even think you would pull that off.
Absolutely not. He goes, I'd rather take a paternity test. I'm like, that's so Jerry Goat Jones.
That is hilarious.
When he does shit like that. Hey, man, I'm really happy for Jalen Carter, man. He's right there with Chris Jones, the 2 interior defensive tackles. They gave it to him over Cam Hayward. That's a good sign.
It shows you what the league thinks of him too, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the players, yes, that's going to go a long way in the Pro Bowl for him. Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett, that sounds right for the edge rushers this year. Dexter Lawrence is the best nose tackle I've seen in a bit. Sacks, pressure.
Yeah,
too bad he plays with the Giants.
How many sacks did he finish with this year? He missed some time.
I think he missed like 5 games and still had 9. I mean, I think it was something like where he missed like 4 games and he had 9 sacks.
He had 9. He had 9 sacks on the year, and he played 14 games, so he missed
14 games.
Yeah,
he had 9 sacks. He would have ended up with around 12 if he would have played. What an absolutely phenomenal season that guy ended up having.
12 games he played. 12 games he played. I was going to say 14 seemed high.
Yeah,
12 games he played.
No, he didn't play 14. He played 12. Wow, he
12,
missed 5 ball games and still had 9 sacks.
Yep.
He may have led the NFL in sacks. And right here, here's the Zach Bond. Here's the Zach Bond problem here. Roquan Smith and Fred Warner were your interior linebackers, your off-ball linebackers, and what you're going to end up getting is people are going to go like this. Seals, you really think Fred Warner outplayed Zach Bond? No. I think Fred Warner is a better player than Zach Bond. Zach Bond had a better year probably than Roquan. Okay? But that's not how they look at that shit. And is it right? No. You see, I know what you want, Xander. You want what I wanted when you're talking about All-American back in the day. I should make the first team because I had the best year. And it aggravates me when people get voted that way. Bond should be the All-Pro, yes. But you know what they do? They do a reputation vote, which drives me crazy. I hate reputation votes.
It's so true. And that's what the league, that's what it all is. So, there's some context you got to add to those, right? Is this Love quote real?
What is it?
Jordan Love says, "We'll see if I play." I'm telling you, man, that dude pinched the nerve. That dude tweaked the nerve, dude. He's feeling that hand. He's like, I can't even throw with this thing. Wait a minute.
The Eagles just come off with some bullshit charade. How do you know the Packers aren't playing the same role on them?
Because that motherfucker couldn't throw the ball on Sunday. They wanted him in that game.
Couldn't play Sunday or the Sunday before or the game before.
Yeah, but concussion's different than tweaking a nerve in your throwing hand. Oh. Talk about, wait. Talk about wishbone. Wishbone, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love can have 3 fingers on one hand and still be a better passing quarterback than Wishbone Hurts.
That's not true at all.
2903, baby. I forget 14 games. Xander's not giving him the 15th game because he only played 2 series.
He says he has no more numbness in his hand, but some soreness in his throwing elbow, which is why he was limited today.
Can you believe that? There's a controversy in Green Bay. Hey, what about what Wayne Larrivee said about AJ yesterday, saying that if Devontae was in Green Bay, he'd be the number 1.
What's that?
He said that if Devontae was in Green Bay, he'd be the number 1 wide receiver.
Who said that?
Wayne Larrivee yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's right. Now, the thing about Green Bay is they have a collection of a bunch of receivers that all get the ball, but there's no real big one. Like even Christian Watson, everybody's like, oh, they lost Christian Watson. Let's just rattle off Christian Watson's stats this year.
He's been hurt a lot, man. He had 36 catches.
He has 29 catches this year.
That's terrible.
Now, he has 620 yards, so which is an average of 21 yards a catch. The guy is getting yards per catch, but he's their deep threat. He's not they have that Jaden Reed. They have that Wicks guy. They have Romeo Doubs, who shredded the Cowboys last year in the postseason for like 160 yards. They have a lot of different options. So losing Watson's not a huge deal for them. And then, by the way, the dude to keep your eye on,
tight end.
That dude is a beast, Tucker Kraft. And if they're gonna, if Matt LaFleur has a good game, calls a good game, that will mean he gets Tucker Kraft lined up on Nakobe Dean several times in the game and they can take advantage of it because that's going to be the game plan for them coming in. I don't think they have an advantage over our secondary at all with those receivers. They're going to use them, obviously, but the game plan will be get Tucker Kraft in one-on-one against Nakobe Dean or Zach Bond and try and exploit it because that dude is a boss. That dude, Tucker Kraft, is a really good player.
So I got Jalen with 140 passing yards and 66 rushing yards in this game on Sunday.
I like the rushing yards.
Like you said, he don't have to be great, and he's averaged right around 178 passing yards a game this year. So we're not going crazy, and we're not being disrespectful. Where he's going to be the factor. That's too old.
Sileo justifying his statistical predictions.
No, I'm looking at what his impact in the game is going to be because I do think Barkley's going to go over 140.
All right, you ready for my stat line?
Yeah.
240, 65% completions, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
2 touchdowns and a pick. Is it a fourth quarter game? Is it a fourth quarter game?
I think it will be a fourth quarter game strictly because of the way the Packers play. If you go and look at some of their games, which I was doing last night, I was watching all the Packers stuff. By the way, I rewatched week 1. It's these two teams are so different now. The week 1 game looked like different teams. But I watched some of their games. They nip, man. Like, even if they're down big, they will keep coming back. And they were down at 20. They were down in that one game they lost to the Vikings. They were down 28-0. 28-0. And they came back to make it a fourth quarter game. So they're they're one of those teams where you got to keep going, keep going, because they will come back on you. And that's weirdly when Jordan Love is at his best, is when they're down by a lot and he's got to throw darts all over the field. And Jordan Love thrives in that. Look, he does have a good arm. People don't think he's a good quarterback. He can throw that rock, man. He kind of has this weird motion where he hangs back and he holds this ball like out.
I hated him out of Utah.
Why?
I hated him out of Utah State. I won't lie. I mean, I did. I didn't think.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan either.
I was like this.
He's a tricky player, Denny. That's the perfect word for him.
I didn't see shit with him at Utah State. I was like, dude, seriously, man. I mean, I didn't see it. But this is what I saw with Josh Allen out of the Mountain West, because I covered the Mountain West. I was like, his sophomore year, he was good. His senior year, he wasn't good. You know why? Who would think that you're not going to have a conveyor belt of great players at Wyoming? So you're going to have a major loss the following season.
Josh Allen went Wyoming.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking. Josh Allen. I thought Josh was a really big time project, and he's turned out to be probably the most valuable player this year. But 240 yards passing for a guy coming out of concussion protocol. So how about this? You think they're going to run him coming out of concussion protocol? You think they're going to run him?
I think that's actually one of the most interesting talking points. Like when a surface level talking point is, okay, Jalen Hurts is in the concussion protocol. Will he be rusty? A deeper level talking point is, how bad was the concussion? Will they use him? Will it be a complete open playbook? Will they run anything with Jalen? Will they run him? Will they use him in the RPO? Will they use him in the read option? Will they do a quarterback draw? Those are all the things that you have to see, right? If the concussion is that bad or was that bad, I don't think they would run him as much in the game. Now, it is one of those situations where it's do or die. So you got to have everything out on the field and you got to leave it all out there. So I would expect them to do everything. I think they'll run him. I think everything will be cool.
You think they'll do the tush push?
They better do the tush push. I think Jalen's getting 1 touchdown on the ground too.
Man, I mean, so a guy who was in the concussion protocol for 3 weeks, you're going to run him, 15 times?
You want us to come? Wait a second. All right, let me ask the alternative. You want us to come into a playoff game and not use our full arsenal?
I didn't say that. I'm asking you, if the guy was so fucking hurt, you're going to run the guy in there after being in the concussion protocol, according to the Eagle PR guys, that the guy just came out today, that all of a sudden, because if they run that fucker 18 times in that ball game Sunday, I'm going to go like this. These guys are so full of shit, because you're going to run that guy 18 times in that game. They could have yanked him out of that thing anytime, and I'll never believe the concussion protocol ever again in my life if I see 18 carries for 75 yards. I will never, ever believe that.
Look at this asshole. I remember this dude from years ago. He's got no teeth, this guy. These are the only idiots you can put up with Dan Sileo, the garbage man, and the red kangaroo hat. It's actually cranberry, Dakota. Cranberry, not red, okay? Get it right.
Thanks for the algorithm.
Hey,
I used to always love the guys that used to go like this. Sileo, you suck. I've been watching you for 35 years. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's get to some of these supers, Xander.
We got a big one from our guy, Edgar. Let's go to that one first.
Oh, good.
Edgar says, hi, Sills. Because of my schedule, I don't always get a chance to watch live, so most of the time I watch the replays. Yesterday's show had some talk about your 9-win prediction. If the defense didn't overachieve, even 9 is a stretch.
Well, the defense was clearly the reason that, hey, look, that offense is a 9-win team, but the defense added the additional 5 wins in what they did this year. You could give that defense credit for 5 wins. Dude, That football, even the coordinator said it. He didn't know what they were looking at. He had no idea what they were looking at. And they really put together a great scheme. They don't have sensation. You heard Xander go like this. He said that they have great players on defense. Let me see here. It's
Carter,
a great player. No, he's a really good player. Is Jalen Carter a great player? Absolutely. Is Jordan Davis? No, he's a good player. Is Nolan Smith? He's a good player. Is Zach Bond had a great season? Is N'Kobe Dean a great season? Is Quinyon Mitchell a great player? Looks like he's going to be a really good ball player. Is Slay? He's a really good ball player. Is Reed Blankenship a great player? No, he's a really good player. And CJ Gardner, is he a great player? At times. Dude, what you have is a great collection of talent that mesh.
That's where Vic Fangio deserves the most amount of credit, right? Because he's gotten the most out of this talent. Whereas maybe Kellen Moore maybe didn't, with this, how much talent's on the offense.
There's no doubt Vic did more this year with less.
Right.
I mean,
all right, here we go. Nick Marchetti says, these aren't the official all-pro team. Yeah, we talked about that, Nick, before you were on, but yeah, it's not the main.
Hey, Nick, are you under the impression you think Lane Johnson's going to beat Penei Sewell out for right tackle all-pro in any all-pro sheet? You're out of your mind. He's not. He's not.
Here we go. Mikey Shreds. Carter better the calls if he's held in the playoffs. Better get the calls, I think you're saying. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get them. Maybe being in the all-pro list will help him.
It will. I think the equity, and referees see that shit. They see what they're doing here. Hey, how about this, Mr. International? There's not a chance in hell that Lane Johnson will be the first-team right tackle over Penei Sewell with the best record in football and the home field advantage. And what he did this year, I think he had a better year than Lane. And by the way, I don't think Lane played poorly. I think he was great. I mean, like I said, Xander, the difference between those two players is probably this. Paper thin.
Yeah.
They're really great players.
I agree. All right. Any more? Oh, Matt Dio says, ulnar nerve and any nerve injuries are tricky. Carpal tunnel is pinching of the ulnar nerve damage. My guy, I talk about sports every day. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Dio. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Syndrome is like typing on your deal is what you're giving me here. And so you're talking about nerve damage in the hands. This is the NFL playoffs. Okay, cut the fucker off. I don't care.
Jordan says he hopes to play. Jordan Love.
What's that?
Jordan says he hopes to play. Jordan Love.
I want every guy doing the same shit every national media guy did for Jalen Hurts in the concussion protocol. Is he going to play? Wait, he's not out yet. And you hear what Jordan said? Jordan said he's not sure he's going to. Oh, my God. Hey, by the way, just for shits and giggles here too, Xander, we have our very first excuse if Jalen shits the bed in the playoffs. He was rusty. Yeah, let me write that down. He's rusty.
I'm not using that as an excuse.
Nick wasn't either today.
That won't be one of my excuses. If Jalen Hurts doesn't, I don't think this is going to happen. Like,
how many wins does he need?
Huh?
How many wins?
It's not about that for me. It's about how it looks. If you come out and you can't, and let's say your defense doesn't quite hold up to the number one overall, and you're down by 14, and Jalen can't get the passing game going, then you're going to say, all right, that's not the kind of quarterback that we need right now for this roster. If you lose a nail biter, even to the Packers, and it's 34-31, and they win on a kick at the end, and it's a back and forth game, I'm not going to come up here and say Jalen Hurts has to go. I mean, come on. It all depends on what it looks like and how the team loses. And if he rises up and plays as well as we're hoping that he plays, admitting that it's hope, there's going to be no issue. If he drops a stinker, yeah, Big Sileo is going to have the offseason of his life.
Like I told you, man. I put it out there for you guys. Hey, I've put it out there. Here it is. I'm going to put people on the program to take shots at me that Monday, okay, if they win the Super Bowl. They're going to get their shot and their
Dude, if
licks.
they win the Super Bowl, I am going to rip you every single game.
Every person is going to get their licks at me like you could take a whip and I'm out here like this and you just can whip old Big Sills. But let me tell you something. If you don't win it, Big Sills taking out the whip. And guess what? I'm going to take no names, no business. And you guys are all going to get your ass kicked. I'll have the greatest offseason on kicking people's asses like Emery.
You realize this is a better bet for you than it is for us, right? Because there's a better chance that only one team can win the Super Bowl. So there's a better chance they don't win. Sileo is setting this up so that the 90% chance outcome, which unfortunately is the Eagles not winning the Super Bowl, will leave him with an offseason of agony for his listeners.
All I'm saying is, well, like you said, if this guy throws for 375 in a loss, 3 touchdowns, and the defense gives up 500 yards to some fucking guy like Sam Darnold, that's going to be a whole different world and how you're going to go about that. But if Jalen Hurts looks like he did against Carolina in a game on Sunday, and he looks like, and Bryce Young outplayed him,
Jalen's going to look like good this week. I think Jalen's going to have a good game.
You do you?
I do. I mean, I admit it's hope, but I do. I think Jalen is one of my favorite things about Jalen is I think his ability to stay calm. It helps him in the highest pressure moments, and I think pressure creates diamonds. People say, but it also bursts people. It also is too much. It's also Sam Darnold. You turn into a pumpkin. Jalen doesn't have that. Jalen is a very calm, stoic dude. And I think in moments like this, when the pressure is the highest, I think that serves Jalen really well. Now, he's got to put it together. He's got to play a great game. But I do think I think Jalen is good. I think he's going to be good in these playoffs. It's just a feeling right now, but I think he's going to be good.
Hey, man, I hope you're right. I hope
I'm right, too. For the great people of JAKIB Nation who are going to have to listen to your ass all off season. Holy shit!
I am going to do something here after I go to the timeout, but you better hope he does. I am going to make my 2025 Philadelphia Eagles bold predictions for the postseason.
Wait a second.
Okay.
You
bold
better hope. I'll tell you this. You telling me I better hope? No, you better hope that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl, because you will have a miserable if they win the Super Bowl. Last year you're like, oh, I'm going to talk sports my whole life. They might force you into retirement if they win the Super Bowl. They're going to say, hey, listen here, old man, get the fuck out of this city.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying here, man, I wouldn't wish for the Eagles to lose the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm saying your guy's not good enough. I'm saying 29-03. That's it. You remember there was an old movie. What was that? Beverly Hills something. We got Philadelphia 29-03. Holy shit. As the children turn. We'll see if what happens.
29-03. I don't give a shit about 29-03.
Oh, no, you will if they get dusted.
You're right.
You will.
Listen,
okay.
Are you coming to Philly for the parade?
Hey, if that guy can't, do you not agree? Green Bay is going to try to do everything they can to make Jalen Hurts win that game Sunday. And they're going to be on Barkley. They're going to do everything they can to stop Barkley.
I would agree that if I were Green Bay and I were Jeff Hafley, my strategy would be to put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. Not because I don't think he can do it, but because I do think it's the best way. I mean, if you're going to leave Barkley and not stack the box, you see what he's going to do. I mean, he's going to have a couple big runs, and he'll probably ice the game in the second half. And I think they'd rather die by Jalen Hurts completing a big pass to A.J. Brown than by Saquon Barkley having a 65-yard touchdown.
You just opened up even more for me now. So wait a minute. You think A.J. Brown, oh, my God, you know what you got working here now? let me write this down. A.J. Brown wants to win the Super Bowl his way, not Barkley's way. Write that down there. Okay. You know this, man. A.J. Brown don't want Barkley going for 3 TDs or 165, and they blow a team out.
A.J. Brown
wants to win it.
A.J. Brown don't care. You're making shit up.
4 catches, right?
You're making shit up. A.J. Brown doesn't care.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure that's why the relationship between the two stink. Get that guy off the air. Get that guy off the air. By the way, one last.
We'll see what happens, Big Hill.
I got a nugget for you.
All right,
hit me. Nugget for you from that Howard Eskin and Angelo thing. Ready? Listen to this.
I'm listening.
Let me read you something from Angelo. Howard Eskin's going around telling people he's coming on my show.
Oh, is he? Good. I can't wait to get him on.
Listen. I gotta fucking show you this.
He liked my video I put up on social.
He wants a job with you. That's why. I'm going to show you why.
I'd love to give Howard Eskin a job. That would be freaking
Here's
awesome.
Angelo. Here's Angelo. Watch this. Hey, Dan, I just heard Eskin's telling people that you booked him. If he starts denying he touched the woman, gently remind him that there's a video out there of him, and I know where it is. It's total bullshit. I said, okay. And I won't go to this last one here. I told him, I said, I haven't really talked to him outside. He said, give me a couple of days. So Howard's going around telling people that. And by the way, I want him on. I'm not saying I don't. I want him on.
Look, okay? Howard deserves to speak. I mean, somebody messaged me like, oh, Howard Eskin's been speaking. I'm like, if you think Howard Eskin's allowed to speak his mind freely and openly on that platform, then you know nothing about me. I'm not criticizing you, but you don't know how media works, and you don't know how the team works. I thought the biggest takeaway from that whole thing is that it really shows how much that WIP carries the water for the organization. I mean, I don't care, but it shows you that it's certainly true.
Do you understand that I could never do my show on radio over there like this? I could never do this show. No. I could, you know why? I'd be in the principal's office every single day trying to explain myself why my takes are against the Eagles, and the Eagles would want me off the air. The Eagles, do you understand? The Eagles would do what the Bucs did to me. They would make something up on a slip up that I would have, because you know me, Xander. I have a ton of fuck ups, and they're going to dive on a fuck up, and they're going to go like this. He called me a CPA. It's kind of like that's anti-Semitism, and you're like, what are you talking about? But you can. Those teams make things up to get you canned. They just
I know.
Make it up.
I know, because I dealt with it when you criticized Howie a couple of years ago. You remember that, I'm sure well.
I do, man. I mean, I called him a glorified CPA. We feel that is a race. That is an anti-Semite comment.
That was a ridiculous take, by the way. I need to have you know what one of my off-season goals is this off-season? Is I need to have a phone conversation with Bob Lang and figure out what's going on with that guy. He's a prep guy. I'm a prep guy. He should be able to have a conversation with me like grown men about business. I think that's fair, and I'm going to try and get that conversation with Bob. But that's not how they like to do business. He likes to, send the guys out. Yeah, send the messages out.
Oh, hey, one last thing. I'll do one last thing here with you. Hey, that fucking Jordan Mailata award, that media thing.
God.
I saw that.
The stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Why in the world does it matter if a guy from the Eagles, and I'm not ripping Jordan Mailata, but why in the world does it matter if a guy is friendly and has a good relationship with the local media? Please help me, Xander. At the end of the day, I always thought Philadelphia media were son of a bitches, and they didn't give a shit about what players or anyone or fans. They gave it to you, and they gave it to you good, and they give it to you bad. Why would I give a shit how Jordan Mailata feels about me in the media? I don't give a shit about that. That has no bearing on my job.
I agree. But that's where we are.
Not.
That's where we are. That's what goes on. I don't really get it, but it is what it is.
So soft. Hey, Jordan Mailata and the media get along. That's the worst news I've fucking heard all week, besides California burning down. Are you kidding me, man? My fucking God almighty. I saw him with that little stupid trophy in his hand. Yeah, I get along good with the media guys. Me and everybody, we're all butt buddies and we break bread. And
well, look at my guy, Yale. He says, a little off topic here. Yale says, Johnny Mack sees him every day. Yale, if you knew the amount of shit that they give Johnny Mack for being on the same network as Big Sills, I'm telling you, man, they are – it's not cool. I can't – it is what it is because they're $1 billion company. They can technically do whatever the hell they want, but, yeah, not ideal. Not ideal for Johnny Mack.
Oh, no. Listen, I told these guys yesterday, I go, you know why I don't ask McMullen to come on my program anymore?
Which, by the way, you should, because that would be a great segment.
We'll do that in the off season. We do that enough once a week with what we do on Sundays. Okay. However, look at me. I got a fucking, hey, I'm actually with some empathy here. Look, I see people think I have no empathy. I have empathy. I know every time John walks into that thing, the room must go quiet. There's JAKIB. There's
no. John's got a good relationship with all those beat guys, but it's just they give him shit because they don't like that there's an outlet out there that doesn't believe in what they're doing, and it's not. It's you. I mean, it's your show. It's not. I mean, that's what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. It's Big Sills and his show, so they're not a huge fan of it. I don't like it, but
why do they watch it?
Yeah, they watch it for sure.
Why do they watch it if they don't?
What is going on in the chat? You guys are going crazy. Dakota, are you all right, Dakota? Come on, Dakota. Cheer up, big guy.
Oh, Dakota. Don't worry about it.
Oh, he's really
look at Dakota got his moment of fame there. Look at that, Dakota Hemorrhoids. How you doing there, dude? Appreciate you, Dakota Hemorrhoids. What you doing? All right, Xander, let me get the hell out of here, man.
Wait. I got one thing to promote, all right?
All right, please.
Other than the giveaway tomorrow morning. So if you were on Birds 365 this morning, I appreciate you. By the way, big congrats to my man Flexing and Steppin'.
No way.
He got a win today. All right.
Flexing and Steppin' won something?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Wait, so Flexing and Steppin' won a shirt, and I'm like, my guy Flexing and Steppin' deserves more than a shirt. So I upgraded him to a jersey, and I'm giving him the best hat that I didn't want to give away. Here it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a cool hat, all right, with the NFC set logo on the side. So I'm giving that to my man Flex. But tonight,
who's that picture in the back on the wall? Is that Jeff Garcia?
You asshole. So listen, I tonight on the night show tonight after Big Sills at 6 p.m. Pat Callahan, we're gonna have Sal Palantonio on, and we're gonna have Ron Jaworski on, and then we're gonna have a Packers Insider. So we got a great night show tonight to prepare everybody for the playoff game. So get your popcorn. Get your drink, whatever it is you do. Get your weed. A lot of you guys seem to like weed. Whatever you do on your night, and buckle up and relax. It should be a great show tonight, and we'll air. No, it'll be live, Buckhalter. It's live. I'll be producing it. So looking forward to doing that tonight. Make sure you guys tune in at 6 p.m. right after Big Sills' show.
Hey, Dakota Hemorrhoids. I've had 5 jobs in 35 years. Fuck bag. I don't jump from job to job.
And he says chicken nuggets. Dakota, I can promise you it ain't chicken nuggets, my guy. All right? All right, let's get out of here.
Believe me, guess what? Every time Xander Friday comes along, JAKIB's building tilts to the side.
To deal with Big Sills. All right, brother. Great show, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. That is Xander Krause. Make sure you check him out. In the morning, a lot of giveaways, and also, too, great show tonight with Pat. Got Sal Palantonio and Ron Jaworski on tonight, too. You know, the reason we didn't get Eric Allen on because we're kind of checking out the fires and all that stuff. So we're hanging in there, guys. But we'll have Merrill Reese at 5:30 for you. So we look forward to that. How about that? It's going to be like 3 hours. You're going to get Merrill. You're going to get Sal Pal. And then you're going to get Ron Jaworski. Some pretty good stuff. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. I want you to do us a favor, especially during this great time of the year when it comes to the playoffs. I think the college playoffs are tomorrow, too. I think Notre Dame's playing tomorrow night. So we got the college playoffs, and we also have the NFL playoffs. That's what our friends at BetUS. Please team up with our great friends at BetUS for the YouTube 150. There you have it. Make sure you sign up. A 2K sign-in bonus of 150%. Just like that, Your second and third are 125% with your sign-up bonuses. And if you're into crypto, do me a favor. That's 200%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year, live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sil's National Football Show. Hit that like button. And if you don't, do me a favor. We have a guy that is in our chat room right now that does the greatest thing on the planet for the growth of the show. Okay? Honest to God. Dakota Hemorrhoids, every time he posts something and every time he says something, he helps the algorithm. I keep posting away. Dakota Hemorrhoids, keep going, man. Thank you for getting out of bed next to your buddy, looking over at your buddy Chip. It's going, I'm going to go and get Sileo. And I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him, Chip. Go get him there, Dakota. Go get him. I'll make a great dinner for you later. Awesome stuff. Go get him, Dakota. Thanks, Chip. All good. And then what does he do? He logs on, does decoder. Dan Sileo, he sucks. Dan Sileo, he's awful. Hey, did you see that there, Chip? Yeah. You're damn right, Twiz. It's my time of the month. This is my time to put the law down and let you know what's going to happen in the postseason. How you doing? Come on, squid face. Like it. All right. Hey, by the way, you guys fired this guy, right? What's this here? There it is. You guys fired this guy. Who am I? Okay. Hey, who am I? Hey, Red Bottom. How you doing? Yeah. Wait a minute here. Hey, Red Bottom. How you doing? Yeah. Let's go, decoder. Come on, decoder hemorrhoids. Who am I? Tell me who I am. I've won 273 football games. I'm 273, 146, and 1. I'm 55 wins away from Don Shula's record for regular seasons of 325 victories. Who am I? Hey, who am I? Sue hates red bottom shoes. Okay? Who am I? I'm 273 and 146, and the Eagles fired me. Who am I? So wait a minute. You know what's going to be awesome? It's going to be on the red. You know what's going to be on the tombstone of Andy Reid when Andy Reid goes into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and he leaves this great place for the ultimate football stadium in the sky. Here lies Andy Reid, who was fired in Philadelphia because his time had just worn out. 14 years was just not going to cut it. To go other places, to solidify my resume, and being the all-time winningest coach in pro football history. How you doing? By the time Andy Reid goes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he will be known as a Chief, not an Eagle. It's almost there now. Like Dick Vermeil is still an Eagle to me, even though he won that Super Bowl with the Rams. I still look at him as his greatest days, in my opinion, besides his greatest moment in his greatest season, it was in St. Louis. But Dick Vermeil, man, he's an Eagle. Okay? Andy Reid's a Chief now. Check. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, can I tell you what I would do to the hey? Is Yale in here? Yale. Hey, Yale. You want to hurt the Chiefs? What would be the best way to hurt the Chiefs? And stop this dynasty shit. What would be the best way? Sue, what would be the best way to stop the Chiefs? Look, holy shit. Holy shit. From out of nowhere, Twiz with a fairly decent take. Okay. Holy cow. Look at Twizwa. He's French now. Look at Twizwa with a take. You're right, man. Someone should hire Spagnuolo as the head coach. Give him a chance to at least be the head football coach. He's young enough to be a head coach. Why wouldn't you give a guy with 4 Super Bowl rings? There you go, Yale. Why not give a guy with 4 Super Bowl rings an opportunity? You heard Kevin Demoff and Les Snead both say we didn't do enough in St. Louis for him. And if there's a guy that deserves an opportunity at winning a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl as a head coach, isn't it Steve Spagnuolo? The Rams said they did not do a good job at building a team around him. Don't you think that guy, if they close the deal and they win their 3rd Super Bowl, how is that guy not a candidate to be a head football coach somewhere? I'll tell you this, he'd go down, in my opinion. Hey, Yale, would he not go down as arguably the greatest, one of the greatest coaches of all time, assistants defensively? 4 Super Bowl rings as a coordinator. God forbid he ends up winning one as a head coach. You'd be like, shit, you're talking first ballot Hall of Fame. I mean, I think he deserves an opportunity. Hey, you think Vic Fangio, who deserves more of a chance to be a head coach off the Eagle coaching staff? Vic Fangio or Kellen Moore this year? Who deserves more of a chance to be a head coach? Vic or Kellen Moore? Okay? Who? Vic. Vic's 70. Not giving that guy a shot. He's 70. It's the only reason Kellen's getting looks. It's because Kellen's younger. And he looks like these modern day analytic guys. See, Vic Fangio's not an analytics guy. If there's one guy that could fit in, you know what? There's no question Kellen Moore is the perfect Eagle head coach. He is. He looks like it. He's nerdy. He looks like he acts like Julian Laurie, really nerdy. Okay, I mean they're nerd guys. Oh yeah, so we're gonna sit there and take the 3rd and 4. Sorry, Sue, and we're gonna go with the stats and the analytics, and we're gonna figure out what's best for our offense in this particular situation on 3rd and 7 in banjo coverage. And you have to understand too, when you're talking about the banjo coverage, you're talking about Tampa 2. And when you're talking about Tampa 2, you're talking about understanding that you have a bell side of the football where you're on the left hash mark. And that's a 33% chance of running slip screens. And then you run real routes on the other side. How about calling a game? Kellen Moore's a nerd. He belongs in Philly. Oh, no, he don't belong in Philly. He belongs with the Eagles. Okay? He belongs with the Eagles. Maurice will join us at 5:30 Eastern time. All right. My aunt's watching the program now and probably going to get a little crazy here a little bit. But I'm going to say something that I hope lands right. I've always, nowadays, I write things out now compared to what I did when I was younger in broadcasting. Because I want topics like this to land. And I want it to land right. Before I would just do things off the top of my head with a great emotion. And that would always sometimes get me in trouble. And what would happen is that my greatest asset is my passion. My worst asset is my passion. The Rooney Rule is a joke. It's a joke. And Antonio Pierce being fired and Jared Mayo being fired. 2 black coaches who got 1 year. Dude, if you thought you were going to turn the New England Patriots around, and if you really thought that you were going to turn the Raiders around in 1 year, you are going to be called racially insensitive. Okay? You can't give a guy 1 year and not expect a backlash. Okay? Here's Eric Allen. Dan, were you on the original radio squad? Okay. We'll talk to Eric a little bit later. We'll do him tomorrow. I've been kind of worried about this stuff, so let me get back to where I'm at. The Rooney Rule's a joke. Hiring black coaches in the NFL today, man, that's a tough proposition. I don't want to hire a black coach. I want to hire the right coach. But that's a white guy talking, not a black guy talking. So I have no understanding of the journey you go on. I can't talk for black candidates. White people can't talk for white candidates. We can't. Okay? Black coaches get far less opportunity to coach in the NFL than white guys. Look at Matt Nagy. He's getting an opportunity again to be a head coach with the Jags. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does. He's still getting interviews. Where's Jeff Caldwell? Where's Caldwell? Jim Caldwell, excuse me. Did he get another opportunity? You think Brian Flores is going to get an opportunity? Okay. I mean, do you? I don't know. I look how long it took Raheem Morris to get a job again. So does it look racial? Yeah. Is it? No. Those two guys were not qualified. You hired two non-qualified guys to take NFL jobs. They shouldn't have been hired in the first place. But at the end of the day, you gave them no time to prove themselves. You hired them, they were unqualified. Then you fired them without giving them a chance. It's just not good. And it's not fair. And it's not right. And what you do is, with qualified black candidates, you hurt the process of other minorities getting a chance to be a head coach and move up the system. Like, somebody do me a favor. How many black GMs are there in the NFL? I think Chris Greer. Who else? The guy in Washington. How many black GMs are there? No, there's Spike. The guy in Washington. The Lions. Chicago's Ryan Poles. Okay. Hey, man. I think it's an injustice what they did to Antonio Pierce, both in his hire and in his fire. Okay. Hiring black coaches is a really tough proposition. Am I saying don't hire him? Well, don't hire him if you're going to embarrass him. Because that's not really advancing the Rooney Rule. You're destroying the Rooney Rule. Rooney Rule means affirmative action. If you've got to have affirmative action in a sport that really is supposed to not look at race, you're missing the point. I mean, Mark Davis hiring him because his buddies wanted him and the team wanted him. It's bad. But what you get is minorities jumping on this topic. Oh my God, it's racially this. It's black guys not getting a chance to advance. They didn't get an opportunity. They're not wrong. You're not wrong. However, they're not qualified. Why is it so that they get the worst candidates? It's kind of like our presidential elections nowadays, or our Senate and House representatives. We get the worst people. We get cocktail waitresses. We get actors. We get social media people. I mean, it's crazy. We don't get the most qualified people. So when I saw these firings, I'm like, okay, how long before it turns race? 3, 2, 1. It took a day. And always the worst teams end up hiring it. You know who the stopgap coaches are in the NFL today? Black guys. That's not a way to advance the Rooney Rule. Man, these owners, man, I mean, it's just not right. Antonio Pierce and Jared Mayo, if you hired him, he deserved an opportunity to at least see if they. How about this? You gave Brian Dable an opportunity to come back, and that thing's a shit show. I mean, how does Brian Dable keep his job, and you didn't give those other guys an opportunity? What has Brian Dable done in New York to make it warranted that he keeps his gig? I mean, I think what they need to do is hire more black assistant coaches to elevate more black coaches from the assistant ranks. Okay? More of that. You want to be a head coach? Hire assistants that are on the staffs like the Eagles. Hire a Clint Hurt as your coordinator. Then elevate him. See if you can do it. It's just really awful, man. It's a really, and dude, do me a favor too. Get a different name for Black Monday. Because most of the time, the guys that are getting fired are black on Monday. It's just really, it's like calling the Masters. And you're like, really, in Georgia? Okay. I mean, it's just not right. Okay, I'm going to get off this here, but NFL, again, they get caught in a moment where they look stupid and they look racist. Especially when you're giving the other guys opportunities who have been fired. And black guys can't get a chance to become head coaches again. Brian Flores, here, I got the list. Here are my candidates to be head coaches in the NFL. And for the record, how many openings are there going to be? You got the Jets. You got the Giants. You got the Saints. Jags. You got the Bears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 job openings. Do you think ownership is just a bunch of racist, good old boy millionaires? No. They used to be. No, they used to be. I played for a racist. And Hugh Culverhouse. Doug Williams just gave me a great endorsement for the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. He told me a story. Get this. They offered Doug Williams, who had put the Bucs in the playoffs, 4 of the 4 or 5 years he started down there for them. Doug's one of my closest friends. He's the head of the Black College Football Hall of Fame. He's a senior executive with the Washington Commanders right now. He's a dear friend of mine, and I love Doug Williams. And he said this, when the new contract came in, it was $500,000 less. Or no, $250,000 less. And he goes, why would you give me $250,000 less? I put the Bucs in the playoffs 4 of the 5 years, and we went to the NFC Championship game and lost. He goes, you don't really think that I can pay you more money than anybody else at that position, do you? And Doug said, yeah, I'm the quarterback. He goes, you're the quarterback, but you can't be the face of the league. And Doug was like, why? He goes, you just can't. And I was like, because you were black? He goes, what do you think? I go, yeah, no, I know why. Hugh Culverhouse was terrible. He's a terrible man. I mean, he talked down to black players all the time, and it was uncomfortable playing for him. Being around him was uncomfortable. He was really an absolute, saw the word. He was a gross dude. Okay. Here are my candidates. Did I get them all? Jets, Giants, Saints, Jags, Bears. Any other job openings? Do I think any other jobs? They kept that kid at Tennessee. What did he do? That Callahan kid. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5, and you got some pretty good candidates here. It's a great question. I don't know if I could. I don't know. Leroy was one of my best friends. I idolized him. And he was from Oklahoma. And he was raised different. He is the nicest human being I've ever met that was a football Hall of Fame player. Because he was a Hall of Fame man. Such a great dude. He built USF Sports, built the football program. I've never met a person that I loved more than Leroy Selman. We were very close. But Leroy, when he was with the Bucks, kind of went along with things sometimes. And the way things were. I mean, let me just leave it there. Okay? Because he's my friend. God rest his soul. I mean, it's good. He's one of the greatest players ever played in football. Okay? Got to remember, man, some of those guys, they went along, they got along, they did things. It was a different era. That's one of the things I respect about the young kids today. They at least ask some questions why, and they should. Why are you talking to me like that? Why? I mean, I'm not talking about combating your coach, going after. I'm not talking that. But if a guy says something stupid, you should say. And my take was always, if I heard somebody say something racist about a guy like Leroy or Doug that was in my presence and they weren't there, and I didn't say anything about it, I'm going along with that narrative. I never would ever want to be in a room that someone thought that I thought that kind of conversation was cool. Okay? I would always stand up for somebody like that. I didn't like that stuff. Like Michael Irvin. Like, you know, I think I've told some of you the story that Michael Irvin and I were at a gas station one night. And we were in California because we were at camp with the Cowboys. You know, I had to rent a car and we drove to this place, and the guy turned the thing on for me, and Mike drove the next day, and the guy made Mike come in and pay. I went in and went, "Why'd you make him pay? You make me not pay." He goes, "Oh, no. I'm like, "Oh, no. I go, "We're never coming here again." Mike goes, let it go, Sills. I'm like, "No, I'm not letting that go. That means I tolerate that shit." That's why me and Michael Irvin are friends for 40 years. I don't tolerate that shit. You know, I want you to see my friends, no matter what their color is, through the same eyes you see me. Okay? And if you can't do that, that's why I have few friends. I don't fucking want to be around you. I mean, I don't have black friends. I have friends. I think that shit stinks. Okay? I just do. The reason, you know, I back Michael Irvin. All the white media guys were saying that Michael did that. And I'll tell you now, because it's public. His wife is dying. She's got Lou Gehrig's. She's got dementia in the same time. You think Mike's out grabbing some chick's ass in a Marriott where she asks and everyone asks for him to sign autographs? Does he really think that? He goes, "Sills, I didn't do anything." I go, "Funny, he didn't have any audio." He goes, I go, "Mike, I believe you." Mike would tell me when he did something, "Man, I fucked up. I really did. I fucked up." And I'm like, "I got it. I got you, though, man. I'm friends with that guy 40 years for a reason. You know why? He's my brother. I've had his back for 40 years. When I said that monkey comment, first guy called me. He goes like this, "Am I a monkey?" I'm like, "Man." I go, no, I'm a monkey's ass. He goes, man, you open your big mouth and you get in. He goes, you're going to get castrated for this. I go, oh, I know, man, but what it is, I got to own it. So whatever. I got it, man. So then the next person to call me, believe it or not, over that thing, God, man, the linebacker for the Bills. Oh, Frank, man, God. Oh, he played at West Virginia. Daryl Talley. He goes, am I a monkey? Oh, my friend started calling me. Am I a monkey? Yeah. You don't know the shit. I took more shit from my friends, my real friends, than I did from anybody in the media. It was crazy, man. Really, really crazy here. By the way, my playoff bowl predictions are coming up. Now, look here, man. By the way, you know, I want everyone to know when I see shit like that happening, when the firings are going like that, I'm with you, man. I think it looks stupid. I do. I put up there, I go, Antonio Pierce was the wrong hire from the start. You know what people will say of me? Sileo's a racist. Not knowing who I am. Okay. That's how you want to cut it up? Fine. I don't care. Because people know me. All right? Let me finish this, and I'm going to give you my playoff bowl predictions. Number 10, Pete Carroll. He's a free agent. Would you hire Pete Carroll to be a head coach? Would you hire Pete Carroll? I wouldn't. Would you hire Bobby Slowick, OC Texans? I'll give him an interview. Pretend you're GM. I would interview him. Yes. I'd interview him. I want to see what he's made of. Okay? How about Joe Barry? Offensive coordinator, Buffalo Bills. Absolutely. Especially, I'll tell you something too. Yeah, James Jones. If you lose Kingsbury, I'd like to have Joe Barry as the OC in Washington. I interviewed Joe Barry. Would you interview Kellen Moore? Why would you interview Kellen Moore? Depends on the fit. Very good take, Tony. Very good take. But if Cliff did co-form last week, he's staying OC. Yeah, no, hey, listen. It's the money he's still making in Arizona that's making him stay in D.C. Here's why I would listen. Hey, tell me if you buy into why I would interview him. He realized the quarterback wasn't what was all cracked up to be. They had a football player that was having a career year, and they wrote it, and he identified it after the bye. And instead of throwing the ball like Brian Johnson did a year ago, what's the one thing Kellen Moore did that Brian Johnson continued to do a year ago? Brian Johnson kept continuing to go down that rabbit hole. Turnovers, sacks, non-production. When it came to the tight end, he identified it. Okay? So he identified the weaknesses inside the offense and went to the strengths of it, and they're 14 wins. So you got to interview him. Okay? I'd love to see him with someone of I'd love to see him with somebody like Joe Burrow. Cliff Kingsbury. Okay, wait a minute. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my 5 guys that I would talk to and then hire. Carroll, I would not. Slowick, probably not. Joe Barry, I would. Kellen Moore, probably not. Probably not. Yale goes, why? I would say probably because I saw Stroud regress a little bit, and they even got him a 1,000-yard rusher in Mixon. And the thing kind of came back a little bit this year. And take a look at the completion percentage. He's hanging around 63 a year this year. He was there right around there last year, but that's a rookie year. How much do I think C.J. Stroud grew from his rookie year? Here's the problem that people have, Yale, on him is, oh my God, Philly Don says something here. Well, there's my there's my Rooney Rule guy. Thanks for the Rooney Rule. And I love Deuce. Hey, give me another Rooney Rule guy. Eric Bieniemy. That's all those guys are going to be. Do you really want to put them through that? Just so you can say I interviewed a black guy? When you bring in a black guy to interview, you better have a serious intention of hiring him. Because if you're just using him for the Rooney Rule, you're setting the rule back. Jim Caldwell is a great coach who I have incredible respect for. Lovey, I'd hire Lovey as my D coordinator. Hey, I'll tell you what. If Vic ever left, you wanted to go get Lovey Smith as your DC, you could not fall from that tree of having a great coordinator in there. Lovey is phenomenal. Lovey's the guy that recruited Sidney Brown. Lovey's the guy that recruited who's that kid that went in the first round, that Witherspoon kid from Seattle. Why do you think Illinois is where they are right now? You think it's Bieniemy or the guy Belima, the guy there now in Champaign? You think that was him? Fuck no. Lovey built that roster up, and he's taking credit for it now because of Lovey's recruiting. People don't realize that. Most of those guys on that football team in Illinois, those are Lovey Smith's guys. Lovey recruited those dudes. Okay? I mean, hey, Lovey Smith won 10 football games in Chicago and they fired him. You think they'd want that back? Pete Carroll's just a little too, Pete Carroll's 71 years old, dude. How many years are we going to coach here with him? I'm looking for a guy that's going to be married to me for about 10 years. I don't want Pete Carroll at 81. I'm not looking for that at 81 years old. No, thank you, man. Do I have great respect for Pete? Absolutely. Is he a Hall of Famer? Absolutely. So I get Joe Barry. I would definitely interview Cliff Kingsbury. I think Cliff is absolutely spectacular. Aaron Glenn, he's done a nice job this year on that defense, but I don't know. He doesn't impress me that much. Brian Flores, no doubt about it. Have you ever seen Brian Flores perform as a bad coach anywhere? That includes Miami. He's been a good coach everywhere. Miami, New England, Minnesota. He is just a damn good coach. I like him. Todd Monken in Baltimore. Look what he's done with Lamar's passing game. And 5. John Gruden or Mike Vrabel? How many people think the game has passed John Gruden by? Liam Cohn, Twiz, 1-year coordinator? I don't know, man. I know he's getting job interviews, but a 1-year coordinator? I just don't know. I mean, Mike Vrabel or John Gruden? Pick one between those two. Gruden's not too old. I'm going Gruden. So I'm going to interview Joe Barry, Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Flores, Todd Monken, and John Gruden. Out of that group of coaches, if I were the Jets, I would hire – they're not going to do this, though. If I were the Jets, I would hire John Gruden. If I were the Saints, let me take that back. If I'm the Saints, I hire Gruden. If I'm the Jets, yeah, but Gruden can take any quarterback and win. And they got talent on that roster. So maybe the Jets would be the better hire. Rex Ryan is a terrible selection if they end up giving him that job back. And it would be a Woody Johnson move. John Gruden has taken guys like Brad Johnson and won a fucking Super Bowl. He's taken guys like Chris Sims and won games. The guy Rattay. He's turned around guys like Rich Gannon. Okay, so the Jets should hire Gruden. The Saints, they got a really great defense down there, but they just went through. Kraft is going to be in the same boat as Jerry Jones. He's trying to replace Belichick like Jerry's been trying to replace Jimmy Johnson. It's a great take, Lord's Grace. John Gruden would fit up in New England great. But does Bob Kraft want to go through that shit again? Why in the world would Bob Kraft go with an inexperienced head coach after having the greatest head coach of all time? That's ego. He thinks he's going to go and he find himself another Bill Belichick and thinks he's going to groom him into being that. That's the one thing the Eagles do exceptionally at. They find these coaches and they're all winners. You know why? Because of Roseman and because of how they recruit and how they player develop and how they build rosters. And most importantly, to Jeffrey Lurie, how he gives the money up front so Howie can be the general manager he is. Howie Roseman's not that great a general manager. Howie Roseman's a great general manager because Jeffrey Lurie allows him to take his checkbook and do what he wants with it. You understand that. He's not any smarter than anybody else. Same guy who passed on Justin Jefferson. Same guy who's had horrific wide receiver picks and defensive back picks over 25 years. But what makes him great is that Jeffrey Lurie gives him, hey, you want to have a low cap? You want to have a great roster every year? Give the money up front. If you give the money up front, I can build that for you there. Okay? And it really does start with him. Okay? It really does. It starts with the owner. Who would I hire in Jacksonville for Trevor Lawrence? I'd hire Joe Barry. You think Joe Barry could do the same things with Trevor Lawrence that he did with Josh Allen? I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that. The Bears hire Todd Monken. You imagine Todd Monken with Caleb Williams? What about Ben Johnson? How good a coach is he? How good a coach do you think that guy is? He's a pretty good play caller, I'll tell you that. One thing is for sure. He's a pretty good play caller. The negative with him, better have a good GM. You better not have somebody like Trent Baalke who can't get it right. He destroyed San Francisco. If I'm a head coach, I'm going to a place that has a really good GM. Where's there a really good GM? I like Tom Telesco and with the Raiders. And you got that idiotic owner in Mark Davis, but Tom Telesco, he did a great job at building that Charger roster is Tom Telesco's. It's not Jim Harbaugh's. Okay? And then if you're really an opening for a head coach, who's going to get the general manager's job, as Yale said, in Tennessee? Who's going to get that gig? I want to know who the GM is first. Do you want to bring in a guy like John Dorsey? Not everybody's cup of tea, but he can evaluate talent. Guy that found Mahomes. He found Mahomes in Lubbock. See, to me, it comes down to perfect fit. It really does. It just comes down to perfect fit. Just taking a job just to take a job it never really makes sense to me when it comes to that. And unfortunately, going back to how we started the segment, unfortunately, the black coaches, they jump at these jobs because they know there's very few opportunities, and they jump into the wrong job because they don't have structural integrity. They don't have an owner. They don't have people that know how to deal with the cap. Most of the time, organizations fail these black coaches because they don't have structure in the building. How easy do you think? Hey, let me ask you this. Say Nick Sirianni was not here and they were going to make a move and they found another guy. Do you think another guy could walk in here and win 14 games, 13 games? I do. Why? Because the structure and the integrity of the organization and how they salary cap, how they evaluate, they put values on certain positions, how they've been doing things since Andy Reid. They're not going to have a losing coach. Nick Sirianni, one of the reasons why I really don't like, he's a product of that environment. That's not his culture. Doesn't it bother you when you hear people talking that's Nick's culture? That's not Nick's culture. It's the same culture that Joe Banner and Andy Reid built back in the day in 2000 when they were going through and changing the entire landscape out of the Norman Brayman mess and creating an integrity inside the building. By the way, can I give it to you? And it's kind of poetic justice. Hey, Yale, what do the Eagles remind you of? What organization in football do they remind you of? What organization do they remind you of? The Eagles. Since Andy Reid when he went in there with Joe Banner, and we had Marcus Hayes on, when they went in there a couple days ago, when we went in there, you know where Andy got all this from? He got this from Green Bay. Because that's how Green Bay runs their organization. And Andy then started building his own structure and blueprint. Many of the things that the Eagles do right now, they did under the Andy Reid era. And what they've done is they've added their own twist to it now. It's kind of poetic justice that these guys are going to be playing against one another. Really cool. So yesterday, we got Wayne Larrivee on. And Wayne is a dear friend of ours. We had a great conversation. He was telling Buddy Ryan stories when he was calling games for the Green Bay Packers, or excuse me, for the Chicago Bears. And now he is the play-by-play guy for the Green Bay Packers. And you can't have two better franchises playing against one another this Sunday. You got the Packers and the Eagles. Yesterday, we had the voice of the Green Bay Packers, and now our dear friend, Merrill Reese, who's going to be calling a playoff game on Sunday. What number playoff game is this for you on Sunday, Merrill Reese?
261. I don't know. I don't have any idea. You'd have to take a media guide and go back and start counting. I don't know. Is it 40 something? It's a lot. I don't know.
It's this. I mean, when you get ready for a playoff, I mean, how do you feel about going into this playoffs right now? I mean, a lot of everybody's looking at the Eagles now. They may have the best roster of any team really in the NFL playoffs, and I'm talking AFC and NFC. 2022, 2004, all the playoff years that you went into the playoffs. Is this season here for you just another season? Do you have high expectations? Do you not? How are you feeling going into this year? Or is it like you always tell me, Merrill, hey, man, you never know the NFL. The ball's shaped a funny way, and that's what the league is, and you just really don't know. How do you feel when you go into these playoffs?
I think one of the most complete football teams I have ever been a part of, being as the voice of the Eagles. They are very, very complete, and they're very, very healthy at this point. However, 2 years ago when they went to the playoffs, they were the first seed. They met a very mediocre Giants team in the first round, and then they met the 49ers, and they eliminated Brock Purdy in the first quarter. That was, I hate to say this, but that game was exciting only in its significance. The game itself was a bore. I mean, they knocked out Purdy. They knocked out Josh Johnson, the backup quarterback. I mean, they played a team essentially without a quarterback. And it's the first time I ever said by halftime, there are only 30, the Eagles are 30 minutes away from Arizona. I mean, I never did it that early. I like to count it down when you're going to a Super Bowl. There was no drama in that game whatsoever. Now, this year, for the Eagles, the Eagles are as good as anybody. I don't see anyone out there who's better than the Eagles. But there are some teams that are as good, almost as good, and to get to the Super Bowl, they have got to win 3 really, really tough games. Really tough. Starting with the Packers.
Merrill,
so if I'm confident, the answer is no. If you ask me if I'm hopeful and optimistic and excited, all of those answers are yes. But to sit here and say, I'm confident that the Eagles are going to end up in New Orleans, nobody in Detroit, nobody should be confident at this point.
Merrill, are you concerned going into this playoffs that you have a situation here with Jalen Hurts has missed some time here? Hopefully we can get Merrill back here and see if we can hook up with him here, because, again, the big conversation is going to be whether or not you're looking at the quarterback having rust heading into this football game. And I would say this to you guys, again, it's not so much that the offense that I said had issues here, but, to get Merrill back and say, Merrill,
back again.
Hey, got you here. Merrill, do you have concerns, though, that Jalen's been off for about 3.5 weeks heading into this game here? He's been he's not been injured in a way where he could still be out there practicing. When you're in the protocol, you're not allowed
Right.
to be around all that. So it's a different environment
Yeah.
for the quarterback to be around. Are you concerned about that a little bit?
Maybe a little bit, but I know Jalen, and I know how dedicated he is. And if he has today, tomorrow, Friday, he'll make do. I mean, he'll get connected with his receivers. He'll reacquire his sharpness. I think he'll be fine.
How impressed have you been? I mean, there's no question about it. Vic Fangio has done just a remarkable job. And I said this, and I wonder if you agree with it. I think this group of secondary guys is better than the 22 guys for this simple reason. Merrill, the one problem that I do have with the Eagles heading into this playoff run is that they're very limited at pass rushers like they were in 22. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying you had 4 dudes that year that were double-digit sack guys. You had 70 sacks and a high volume. That secondary group finished second in the NFL. That they were very good. This group finished first with really limited pressure, or how about this, to compromise here, half the pressure that they got in 2022. This is a better secondary than that football team that you had in 22. Do you agree?
I agree. And the additions of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean cannot be overemphasized. That's how important that is. Now, about the pass rusher, there's no Hassan Reddick. There's nobody who compares with Hassan Reddick as a prolific pass rusher on this team. I think counting the playoffs, he totaled something like 19 sacks. But you can't say that those linebackers then were as good. Nobody there was playing like Zach Bond has played this year. And that Kobe Dean has been terrific. And Nolan Smith as an edge rusher came up this year. They're really good.
Okay, Merrill, who is your rookie of the year this year? Was it Cooper DeJean or was it Quinyon Mitchell?
I would say Quinyon Mitchell, only in that only that he started an extra game, and I think he's given up a total of 1 touchdown pass the entire season. But if it would be 1 and 1A, it's not that much. They both played like first round draft choices, even though DeJean was an early second.
You know, Merrill, I got to tell you, I was missed out on one thing this past weekend, and I blame you. Okay, I blame you for all of this, and I missed you calling 2106. I'm sorry. Seeing Saquon Barkley in that jacket and you not being able to go, he's 25 yards away from immortality.
Yeah.
And then he's 5 yards away from immortality. I mean, you tell me you didn't want to do that.
I wanted to do it on tape, but not have him out there. I mean, listen, if Green Bay had played their game with the same philosophy, they might have Christian Watson.
Okay.
You know, last year the Eagles had the same amount to gain that Green Bay had this year, a little something in the seedings, and they played that one more game and lost A.J. Brown. Is it worth it? No. Saquon knows that. He knows it.
Didn't you think he was disappointed?
Is it disappointing? Yeah, I mean, we wanted to see it happen. But if you ask me, to me, the big thing is that he's one of the 2,000-yard rushers. That's the big thing. Because the other thing's going to be gone in a year or two when they add 18 games. So who knows? Maybe he'll do it again. But the truth of the matter is, if you ask me, what will football fans remember? The guy who broke the record that will be eclipsed soon, or a second Lombardi trophy for the Eagles? It's not even close.
Nick Sirianni, help me out on this, Merrill. Have you ever seen a guy more scrutinized in your life than the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, was Andy Reid this scrutinized when he was the head coach?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely he was. I mean, everybody, I heard somebody say today, yeah, Andy Reid, I mean, people were a lot more confident in him from the very beginning. No, they weren't. And then people were saying, well, so what? He's winning getting to all these NFC championship games. and he's not getting to the Super Bowl. And then they're saying, but he lost the Super Bowl. And Andy's great. Don't get me wrong. Andy is great. I'm not minimizing it, but I'm telling you that Andy was under the same microscope. Every Eagles coach, including Vermeil when he first came here, and he's the best of all time. And Vermeil was put under the microscope. Oh, I used to come home every Sunday, and my friend used to call me on the phone. All he does is give the ball to Wilbur Montgomery on first, second, and third down, and then they punt. I mean, they people were critical of Dick Vermeil. It's part of being in the fishbowl. It's part of being the head coach, part of being the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't talk about the other cities, but I'm sure that I'm pretty sure that New York's a pretty glaring spotlight, and there's some Chicago, all of these cities that have Green Bay, yeah, sure. It just there's fewer people.
Absolutely. Merrill, who's your favorite coach to cover?
What do you mean?
Who is your favorite coach to cover?
Well, Andy was great. I love Doug.
If you notice, I didn't ask you who the best was. I asked you who you enjoyed covering the most. What Eagle coach in your time did you enjoy covering?
I love Dick Vermeil, and we're good friends now. But at the time, I was scared of him. It was the first year, and I was afraid that he was going to break my head off. You know, I'm going to tell you something. Because you're not asking me who I like the most. You're just asking me who was my favorite coach to cover.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, and Nick is great, and I love Doug. Doug's a good friend. But my favorite Eagles coach to cover was James David Ryan, Buddy Ryan, because I thought he didn't even know who I was, and he had come to practice every day, and I had gone to the press conference when he was hired. I went to Tampa where they had a mini camp. I went to training camp every day, and he always looked at me like he didn't even know who I was. And then we went out to California because they played the Chargers one week and the Rams the next week. So we stayed over, and I was very close with his quarterbacks coach, Doug Scoville. We were both tennis players. Now it's all golf, but we were both tennis players, and we got close, and we go out and play every day. So on Thanksgiving Day, some friends of mine who lived out there came to visit me at the hotel, and we're sitting down, and I said to them, they said to me, "What's Buddy Ryan like?" I said, "Let me tell you something. He doesn't even know who I am. He's very, very cold. And I think he knows what he's doing, but he's not anybody you can even get close to." And at that moment, Buddy walks in and walks over to us and says, "Hi, Merrill, how's your tennis?" Said, "What?" I want to tell you something. From that moment on, Dan, we were the closest of friends. You had to pass his test. Once he felt that he could trust you, it was amazing. I'd come into his office to do a 10-minute show, and I'd be getting ready to leave. And when I did a show with Dick, I'd have 10 minutes. By the end of 9 minutes, he was so restless, he'd be ready to go out the door. And at 9:55, I'd be thanking him, and boom, he's gone. But with Buddy, I finished the show, and he'd say, "Wait a minute. You asked me something about Wilbur Marshall. Let me show you something about Wilbur Marshall." And he'd go back and he'd get a real film and show me. And I learned more football with Buddy Ryan sitting there after the show, talking and hearing his stories. Buddy Ryan, and he told me too much. He told me so many things. I knew exactly how I felt about the owner. I knew everything, but he was great for me to cover. I learned so much football, especially defense from Buddy. I loved him.
Wayne Larrivee, who's now the play-by-play guy of the Packers.
Great broadcaster and great guy.
And he was also the Chicago Bears guy during Buddy's time in '85. And I go like this. I go, "Listen, I'm getting Merrill on tomorrow." And I go, "Give me a Buddy Ryan story." So he goes, "Okay." He goes, you heard the one where one day, what's his name? Dick steps in and he puts his head in the meeting, and Buddy looks over at him and goes, "What the hell are you doing in here?" And he goes like, and then he would just Ditka would just look around and he goes, "What the hell are you doing in here?" And the entire room's looking at the head coach. He goes, "Get out of here." And then he would leave, right? And so I said this, and I asked Wayne Larrivee this. I go, there's an energy that Buddy had about him.
Oh.
When he walked into the room, and I think that Chicago Bears team, and I asked Wayne, I go, do you think that Bears team underachieved? And he goes, yeah, we only won one. That team went 14-2 the next year after going 15-1. And I go, Buddy got the job in 86 in Philly. Don't you think that dynamic between Ditka and him galvanized that football team where they were a team on Sundays? They may not have been a team Monday through Saturday, but isn't that what he tried to do when he was in Philly? He had a defensive team and he had an offensive team. And for some reason, it just didn't work in Philly because I don't really think they had that personality on defense or another offensive-minded coach, because if they had that dynamic in Philly, I think that team wins the Super Bowl, because I think Chicago missed that dynamic with those two guys in the building.
I got to tell you something, Dan. You're right. But I want to tell you this, that team might have won a Super Bowl. Their best team, unfortunately, lost at Chicago in the Fog Bowl. And once that fog came in, it was whoever had the lead. But the Eagles were the better team. That team might have gone to and won a Super Bowl. They were never as good. And when Buddy was fired after a playoff game against Washington. And when he called his own press conference on Monday morning, and everybody came in, not upstairs in the front office, but down in the bowels of the stadium and where the locker rooms are. And he put us in a room and he came strolling in and he said, well, it's the first time anyone's ever been fired for winning. And then he went on and had a racehorse, and he named the racehorse Fired for Winning. But and you'll remember when he took over the job in Arizona, and he walked into the press conference and said, well, you've got a winner in town. You've got a winner. And you'll remember the sideline punch that he threw at Kevin Gilbride. Yep. I mean, he was a classic. But I will tell you that anytime he came to town for a banquet or anything, he'd say, where's Merrill? And I'd come over and he'd give me the biggest hug. Buddy and Joni, they were great people. Great people. So he was my favorite to cover from that standpoint. But I've liked every coach that I've ever covered. I mean, Richie Kotite wasn't the most successful coach, but he was a little mercurial, but I liked working with him. Liked every one of them. Nick is terrific. Doug and I are good friends. So I liked all of them. The only one I will tell you, and I've said it before, is it was impossible to have any kind of a relationship with Chip Kelly.
Yeah, I heard his bedside manner is what stops him from actually succeeding.
Well, I think he's got the right job as an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You can put him in a room and he can draw up an offense. He's bright. I'm not telling you he's not bright, but he in any field, one of the most important things is to have the ability to communicate. And I don't think he was a communicator.
Is there any coaches that you've worked with that we just talked about that Nick reminds you of, or is he a combination of some of the coaches that you work with? Because I think it's different coaching today than obviously it was with Vermeil, when it was with even sometimes Andy's morphed into a different guy than what he was when he was here for.
Yeah, but Andy's wonderful. Andy's wonderful. You can sit down with Andy and you can learn a lot. Andy's not a good press conference coach. He comes in, clears his throat 3 times and says, time's yours. But Andy's a wonderful person and a wonderful coach. Nick is a lot of things. Nick, here, I got to tell you something, Dan. I'm not saying anything disparaging about anybody, but I hear all these names coming up. And I don't know these people, but I know their names. They're coming up for these head coaching jobs, and a lot of them are coordinators. And you're talking about, I couldn't tell you what they're like. But they are coordinators. Some people tend to hire schemes. They want X and O wizards. That doesn't necessarily, now some of them are, but that doesn't necessarily make them a head coach. A head coach has to be a leader, a communicator, a motivator, a judge of talent, and most of all, a leader. That's what a head coach has to be. And I don't know, people seem to be looking at schemes. I want a head coach that when he comes to have his interview, that he knocks me over. Not with bragging and this and that, but there's a certain something that you can feel. You know the story about Harbaugh. I told you that whole story before. You could see that Harbaugh was a head coach. You could see that Jeff Fisher was a head coach. You could see that John Gruden was a head coach. Others you could see who became head coaches, you wondered about it because they didn't have that same presence. And I told you, with all of these things going on, there's a coach who, and I mentioned to you before, there's a coach on the staff who probably won't even get a thought because he's the special teams coach. But when Michael Clay walks into a room, there's a presence. And when he looks out at you and he looks at his players, there's communication personified. He is powerful. He is a leader. If anybody out there wants to take a chance and just bring him in for an interview when he's eligible to interview with whatever the regulations are, you may be shocked that this guy's going to be an excellent head coach sometime. I'm telling you, whoever gets him someday is lucky. But nobody knows about him right now. Maybe through this highly watched show that his name will come up. But Michael Clay is a guy that somebody. Well, you know what I might do if I were an owner. If I were an owner, this sounds crazy. This is really going to be off the wall, Dan. If I were an owner, I would call the leading sports writer that covers the team and the voice of that team, and say to them, is there anybody you're around every day that just you see and he comes off as a head coach? Because we know, because we see them. We watch them interact with their players. We see them at training camp. We know them a lot, and we don't have anything to gain by it. We're not taking a friend. We're not saying, well, let's boost this guy. I'm telling you, Michael Clay is very special.
There's a lot of guys who have come out of that room, special teams. Marv Levy came out of that room.
Yep.
John Harbaugh came out of that room.
He was the first special teams coach ever, Marv Levy.
Right. And those guys Marv Levy obviously went on to have a historic career in the National Football League. He actually started in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, you're talking about guys like, look at John Harbaugh and what he's done. I think that has to have organizational also in the structure. I brought this up about the Eagles earlier and why all these coaches since 2000 have had success. I think that, and by the way, I'm not saying, and I'm not throwing any dirt here on Nick. I'm saying if Nick wasn't in the building, I think you're going to get another guy to go in there and win 12, 13 games. I'll tell you why, Merrill. You haven't had a losing coach since 2000. You have a structure in the building because the head coach is hired by the owner and hired by the general manager. They're looking for a certain type of guy to bring in there. Now, obviously, one's going to elevate more than the other when it comes to one-loss record. But,
Nick, because Nick is a leader and Nick is a motivator and the players respond to Nick. And Nick is a meticulous preparer. Nick has the nose to the grindstone and he knows football and he knows what he's doing. He's grown as a coach and he's grown as a game manager and he knows what he's doing. He's a terrific coach. He really is, Dan. But let me tell you where it starts. It starts with Jeffrey Lurie, who is the best owner in the history of this franchise and one of the great owners of all sports in this country because he hires the best people and he lets them do their job. I mean, I've seen owners in different cities and how involved they get in, how they micromanage, and that's not good. Years ago, I was doing, I believe it was a game between the Eagles and the Colts, and Irsay owned the Colts, the Baltimore Colts, and our booth was separated by glass from the coach's booth. And during that game, the Eagles were beating up the Colts, and I saw Robert Irsay, walk into that booth, grab the headset from one of the coaches and start shouting down instructions to the coach on the field. I mean, I went, wow. I mean, actually giving it like do this or do that. That's the farthest thing from Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie is amazing.
What do you feel about this? Kellen Moore interviewing for jobs while the playoffs are going on. I don't think this is just an Eagle question for you, Merrill. I think this is an NFL question that, I mean, you know, look, you want these guys to get opportunities. If you're going to win a lot of games, I mean, you're going to have this pilfering that comes with every roster.
Very bright young coach, though. But Kellen Moore was asked about that yesterday at the coordinators conference, and he said, "I'm not thinking about it. All I'm thinking about is Sunday."
Merrill, you know human nature, though. When if somebody's sitting there telling me, "Hey, Dan, I got a TV show for you on ESPN, and I'm going to pay you this X amount of money, and it's an opportunity for you," how do you manage that? Do you think that the experience that he has had over the last couple of years helps him with that? And, I mean, think about it, Merrill. I mean, it's just human nature. Even, you know, Jonathan Gannon was questioned on that when he took that Arizona job. I mean, there was a lot of dust that was kicked up in the offseason on that hiring.
There was. I don't know. I know that isn't there a period where they are allowed to go interview? It's just not yet.
Absolutely.
Is it during the bye week?
Yes.
I think they get a chance at that point. So if somebody's after Kellen Moore, for example, and he's a bright young coach with a lot of qualities, if that's who they're interested in talking to, then they'll wait 2 weeks.
Final question for you. How big do the Eagles win on Sunday?
I don't know. Come
on, Merrill, give me something.
and I think they're the better team. I think I think they're more complete.
Do they make you nervous a little bit, Green Bay? Do they, because they're well coached?
You know, I'd be crazy not to be concerned. I'm nervous when I get on the air, but I'm more nervous about the things that I'm trying to remember and the numbers, all that goes on in the booth. And of course, those are the things that to make me jittery right until the game goes on, and then it goes away, of course. But I'm not nervous in terms of the result. I could tell you that everybody who watches this game, whether you're a Packer fan or an Eagles fan, you've got to be very, very concerned because these are two good teams. Neither team is a lock. I don't know about the odds and all that stuff. Packers are a very, very good team. It's not going to be like beating the Giants 2 years ago. It's not going to be like beating the 49ers who were quarterback-less. So you've got to play very, very well. These are two excellent teams, two teams with excellent coaches, bright young quarterbacks, great running backs. I mean, you know, let's face it, Saquon is out of this world, and you know the Packers are rushing, and Josh Jacobs is not chopped liver.
Absolutely, Merrill. Have a great call. I'll be listening. You have to understand what I do, and I don't think I've ever told you this is what I do with you on Sundays. I turn the volume down from the TV and I listen to you on IP, and that's how I always watch the game. I watch it through your eyes. I actually watch it with my eyes, listening to you in my ears and how you see the game. So to me, I get a different perspective.
We have a great group, and Mike Quick sitting to my right is just an excellent analyst and puts a lot of preparation into it. He's not a guy who ever just showed up and said, I'm a 5-time All-Pro. He works at it as hard as anybody, and he's a friend. So it's two guys who really like each other, getting together and doing the best work we possibly can.
Absolutely. Sitting around Gino's, just watching the Eagles, calling a football game. I got it. Thank you so much, Merrill. Have a great call Sunday, my friend.
Thank you, Dan.
You bet. The great Merrill Reese. We appreciate him so much. Make sure you please do me a favor and hit that like button. Guys, don't forget also our great friends at BetUS. Great opportunity for you guys to sit there and have yourself a great time during this football season. We've teamed up with them here at JAKIB. You team up with them. this is a great opportunity for the YouTube 150. The YouTube 150 is a sign-in bonus up to $2K of 150%. Second is 125. Third is 125. And if you're into crypto, that's a 200% of your crypto. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Now, the way I add this here is Eagles got a 2-game losing streak in the postseason going on. Is that right? 2-game losing streak? Is that correct? Thank you, Wayne. Okay. 2. Xander goes like this. That's horse. Wait a minute. Hold on. Lost the Super Bowl. And you lost the game to the Bucks. So you got a 2-game losing streak. Is that correct? All right. Hey. Bro, look at hey. Hey, look at this. Look at what. That's some horse shit from Sil. Wait, is it a lie? No, it's not. 2-game losing streaks. Yeah, Super Bowl and the Buck beating. That's some horse shit. Wait a minute. I got a couple of minutes here. I've got to do it. As soon as Mr. Reese leaves. Hey, dude, what do you think I'm going to do? Disrespect Merrill Reese? He would be high to think that. No one messes with the Eagle. And that's what I've dubbed Merrill Reese. No one messes with the Eagle. Here we go. The Big Sil's bold predictions. Here we go. The Eagles will win 2 playoff games. And only 2 playoff games. Saquon Barkley will average 125 yards a game. The Eagles will lose in the NFC title game. A.J. Brown will average 105 yards in those 2 games. Q will have 2 picks in the postseason. And Jalen Hurts will have 3 picks in the NFC title game. There it is. By the way, I got to sign it. All right. Guys, stay tuned for Pat. Great lineup with Pat, man. Sal Pal's there with them. Great chance for everybody to come aboard. Ron Jaworski's also going to jump aboard. We're working on Eric Allen tomorrow. So hopefully we can get a hold of Eric Allen. Looking at Philly 500 tomorrow as well. Guys, have a great one. Pat's coming up with This Week in Football. We appreciate you guys. Big Joe, Xander, thank you guys. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.